Already the show goes on all night, and anybody's. Oh no, we just got copyright checked.
Oh, you ruined it. Hey, everybody, it's your boy PSA SITCH here with Adam, friended forever, talking about wizardry and the magical school of bucko-ness. But more importantly than that, apparently Adam has fallen in love with everyone's favorite communist.
Don't tell my wife, okay?
Yeah. How does she feel about you falling in love with AOC?
With a communist? Oh
Yes.
man, I'd be
Oh,
in
so she would
huge
be
trouble.
okay with it? She'd be okay with it if she wasn't communist?
No, she doesn't care what political party she belongs to. Come on.
So explain to everyone why you've fallen in love with the Red Devil.
Look at that thumbnail, okay? What do I need to explain?
Oh, okay. It's not about
Why do I have to
personality,
explain
it's
this?
just the look.
This is a purely platonic love. I want you to know that.
It's pure. You mean not platonic? Purely based on the way she looks.
What's platonic mean
lowest-
again?
It means like when you're friends with someone.
Oh, really? Okay. Well, whatever the opposite of that is.
When the girl says she just wants to be friends with you.
See, I was saying that AOC was sexy when other people were calling her crazy eyes. So,
You're not looking at her face. So
other people have come along to my way of thinking now, but then you're talking specifically about the tweet that I did about how I fell in love with AOC, but then I found out she went full racist, and
Okay, yeah, you'll have to explain this to me because I know you got this from Scott Adams, and I was listening, to him, and he didn't explain why he was calling her racist. He just said that she's racist now.
Well, I'm assuming it's from the 60 Minutes interview.
What'd she say?
She was saying that Trump is a racist. That Trump, I hate to even talk about this because it's so.
But how does that make her racist?
Well, she's saying Trump is a racist.
Yeah, but how does that make her racist?
Because she's a racist. Like, just bringing race up is not cool.
How dare you call someone a racist? You're the racist.
Saying someone is a white racist is racist.
Oh, she said he was white racist?
Yeah. Well, it all goes back to, and Scott Adams has talked about this. It goes back to CNN has promoted the idea that Trump said there are good people on both sides of the statue debate. You know this, right?
Oh, someone wants you to click the arrow to make the chat move.
Oh, I know. It's not working. I've clicked it a dozen times. I'll try it again. Let's see.
Sorry. I mean, I don't care. But anyway, what you're saying.
Did I fix it? All right.
I can't tell yet. But
all right. Sorry, guys. So after Charlottesville, Trump came out and said there are good people on both sides. Remember?
Right.
And everyone says, like, neo-Nazis are on one side. But
yeah, well, I mean, if you read his full statement, it's obvious he's not talking about the neo-Nazis.
Right,
obviously.
He's talking about the statue debate.
Right.
Which has conservatives on one side and progressives on the other. The progressives are saying, tear down all the statues.
Well, do you think it's really, you really think that's like a conservative, like, are conservatives really defending Civil War statues?
I think so, because they're traditionalists. They're like, we have to, like, it's so funny to me that remember we did the stream with Ben, the Marxist?
Mm-hmm.
And he, like, actually, I don't know if it was Ben that was making this argument or if it was the writer that we talked to, but someone was making the argument that, if you don't remember history, you're doomed to repeat it. That's like the progressive argument. They're like, we got to keep talking about slavery forever or we're doomed to repeat it, right? These are the same people that want to tear down the statues. It's like, don't you think the statues are helping us remember our history? That we don't want to be doomed to repeat?
Well, I don't know if I agree with it. I mean,
whose side are you on? Where's my bingo?
I don't think that we should be displaying statues of a time when half the
Mm.
country rebelled against our great American democracy
So
and then
you are
lost.
for taking the statues down then?
I am for taking the statues down, yes.
Okay, you get baby Sitch then.
Look,
Baby
these
Sitch
people
can't handle a statue.
the
Oh, look at
Confederacy
he's so cute. He
the
can't handle a statue.
the Confederacy were literally they're literally traitors, okay?
They
So
are. Yeah.
okay, so you fuck them. So that's like if you were in Russia. Well, that's like if you were in, I guess, no, fuck Russia. But if
Vandalize
you
the
were in,
statues, okay, but don't take
if,
them down.
oh, there you go. That'd be like if you were in like one of those Soviet curtain countries, and you're like, oh, we should keep displaying our like Stalin statues. It's like, no, fuck that.
I'm
Like
a
we're beyond
neo,
that,
okay? I'm a neo.
right?
I'm not taking sides on this argument, okay?
Oh,
I'm
you were
just saying
totally taking
I'm
sides. What are you
saying that I
talking about?
No, I'm saying that I understand both sides of the argument. There's the traditionalist argument,
Uh-huh.
and there is the change argument,
Okay.
right?
Right.
And that's what Trump was talking about.
I don't
Trump
buy
was
that
saying
it's
there are
a
good people on both sides of that argument.
yeah, no, look, I agree. I don't think if you're in favor of keeping the statues up that makes you racist or whatever. I don't agree with
Right.
that. Um, I just think that they should get rid of them. Like
So you're for taking them down, huh?
I'm for taking them down. Obviously, they should be taken down legally. I don't think a mob of people should tear down the statues with ropes and grappling hooks.
Okay. I don't know. I lived in New Orleans, and there's a bunch of those statues around, and I found it fascinating, but I never thought I just thought it would be difficult for me to advocate for that position because it's such a piece of history. I mean, geez, you walk into there are places in the French Quarter where they act like where they actually like sold slaves and stuff like that, which is pretty
Right.
crazy. And just being in a place like that, it just makes you think just like how awful that kind of thing must have been. So I don't know if you erase the landscape of that history, I don't know if you are remembering it, to be
Well, I
honest with
guess
you.
a part of the problem is it depends if you left this. I mean, look, here, maybe the compromise is you leave the statues up and you add a plaque that like talks
Traitor.
about labels them a traitor. Now talks about the situation in like a more nuanced way, because I'm assuming the reason people are upset is that the impression of just having the statue up is like, oh, we're celebrating, these people that seceded from the country in order to protect slavery, basically.
Yeah, I get that.
So I obviously, if I was not a white guy, well, I guess whether I'm white or not is up for grabs. But if I was black, I would be very pissed off.
If you were digital blackface, you would be very angry.
Yes, exactly. If I was black, I'd be very upset that wherever I lived had a statue commemorating people that literally were fighting to keep me enslaved for financial gain.
There isn't an easy answer for this, to be honest with you. Because, I mean, this is why politics is politics, because a lot of issues are dilemmas. They really are.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, yeah, I don't know. Man, there was this park in the French Quarter that we used to go to that had one of the generals. I don't know if it's Lee, like riding a horse. And it's crazy because that statue is over 100 years old, and I just, it's difficult for me. I guess I'm more sentimental. But when you're in the presence of something so old, I think it's natural to have some kind of reverence for it. And yeah, sure, the guy's a total dick, a traitor. Like I'm not by any means wishing the Civil War went any other way than it did. But at the same time, it is a piece of our history. So,
well, as I agree with the idea that a lot of people were saying was put them in a museum somewhere.
Oh yeah, that is a good idea.
That's fine.
Yeah, that's the idea right there.
That I think that would be a good solution. Is if the state says, okay, we're going to allocate funding for a specific place, to commemorate the Civil War and the battles and all the people that died here, and we're going to put all these statues there. Like that'd be cool.
I think it would be cool if the museum had two entrances, and above one entrance they have no. What are you thinking, huh? What are you thinking?
Keep going.
No, what are you thinking, huh? You're
I
laughing
keep
already.
going.
What are you thinking?
Let's see where you're going with this. Let's see where you're going with this.
I was gonna say two entrances, right?
You're right.
And above one entrance it says racists, and above the other entrance it says non-racists.
Yes, the entrance says racist, and when you leave, you become not racist.
No, I'm saying
There
you
you
get to choose which door you go
Oh,
through.
okay. Okay.
You get to pick. Of course, there'll be a camera there. Yes, the SJWs will have like a live feed going there. Who's gonna go through the racist door?
Man faces world for $2. Tear down Jefferson, Washington because they own slaves? Question mark.
See,
No,
and yeah. Go ahead.
I think that's completely different because there's a difference between people owning slaves when everyone owned slaves, and that was kind of the accepted practice. And then when you get to a time period where people were saying, okay, we should probably stop doing this. And one side's like, no, we need to keep doing this to fuel our economy. So, morals be damned. And we're going to, cede from the country in response to this. And, I know like that's like the talking point is the Civil War wasn't about slavery, but that's completely not true. Like that's like the BS apologist line that kind of came up afterwards.
Mm-hmm. It was about freedom. It was about
Yeah.
liberty.
Yeah, it's like technically it wasn't about slavery. It was about the freedom to have slaves.
Yeah,
Like, okay, I'm sorry. The technicality got me.
The freedom to take freedom away from other people.
Yeah, it's. So I think that's the difference between like the founding fathers who had slaves and then people who were in the Confederacy who were fighting against what is now our current fucking government.
Yeah. Well, all this was just linked to. So AOC basically repeated that talking point about Charlottesville,
Right.
which I just think is a straw man of Trump's argument. I don't think it's a fair representation of.
Well, I would say I literally just read his whole everything he said about it like a couple days ago, and I'd say
Okay.
it's worse than a straw man. I'd say it's an outright lie.
Yeah. Okay. So you're on board. So the
I'm
reason
totally
why
on board.
how can you like the only way we're gonna beat this racist nonsense is if we call the people who are saying you're a racist racists. Right?
Well, I don't know. I don't know about that, but so you think that's what
they are saying they are saying Trump is a racist by what you've called an outright lie based on his argument, like an outright
they're not just
fabrication
talking
of,
about that. They're also talking about all the immigration stuff. Is they link that to racism.
right. But they're mind reading though.
Right. Well, okay. Here's a question I want to ask you. What do you think the main motivating drive is for all the immigration stuff right now?
Trump made a campaign promise and he wants to keep it.
No, for him. Yeah, for him. I mean, but for like, why do people on the right and Republicans care about building the wall in the first place?
They don't want. Well, I think they're driven by fear. I think it's mostly they're scared of crime and terrorism and stuff like that. I really don't think there's a lot of racism left in the country. I mean, I wish we could do a proper study on it, but I honestly, I mean, I don't see a lot of. I don't think conservatives are racist. I honestly believe that we have gotten past that simply because in every vocation of life there is so many different colors and races. It's like you're constantly working around different ethnic groups. So I don't see it being. I would say even people who live in places that are 99% white, I don't think they have any animosity towards different ethnic groups because. Like, why would you? They aren't even around.
I mean, I don't think the main motivating factor is racism either. I think it's kind of the whole Height Peterson. When people feel, as you were saying, when people are afraid and they feel uncertain. They want to. The people with high order want to lock everything down.
Right.
And I,
Correct.
and I feel like it's a lot of it is misplaced. Emotions and energy of we know something is wrong in our country and we're not exactly sure what it is, so we just need to lock everything down right now and figure it out.
Right.
And also, I missed the super chat. I'm very sorry. Critters bugging for 2.79 Canadians. If you make this a 6-hour stream, I'll pay you $100.
Really? Oh my
That's what he
goodness.
said.
That's like a record. Oh
Six-
wait, we do
we
6-hour
got
streams
$100.
every week. Just
Yeah, that's true.
just pay it up now, buddy.
Say it right now.
Actually, we have a shorter thing, and I have a sore throat. I said Sitch was going to do most of the talking, but
That never happens. You're just a fucking blabbermouth.
motor mouth. That's my nickname.
So
So
what is this first video we are going to be looking at?
We're going to look at AOC. I changed the music so we won't get a copyright strike. I also noticed I went back to to see if there was any relevant comments on our last stream since it was like 2 weeks ago.
Mhm.
And I noticed there's like 100 ads in that thing. I was like, geez, you got to be raking in the ad revenue, buddy.
Which stream did we do last week? I don't even remember anymore.
No, we didn't do one last week. We did one
I
the
made
week
the
before.
week before last week.
It was Ezra Klein. I know.
Oh, right,
trigger
right.
warning. It was Ezra Klein.
It was I put an ad break every hour.
You did that?
Yeah.
I don't even
Is
know
that
how
bad?
to do that.
Isn't that what you're supposed to do?
I didn't know. I was like, geez, that's
if
awesome.
you can't watch a 50-second ad every hour of content, come on.
No, it's
Not-
great, man. Come on.
I have no idea if it's
I'm
gonna
a
make any money,
capitalist
though.
here.
I don't think any of my videos make very much money.
Oh.
It's too depressing to look at.
I'm officially at 0. Like my Adam, I deleted all the videos that made money on my Adam friended channel because I didn't want to get that channel demonetized too. And my Think Club is demonetized, so I'm officially just super chat.
That's right, everyone.
Thanks for the
In case you didn't know.
$2.
In
What's
case
that?
you didn't know, Adam Friended's entire channel has been demonetized.
Everybody knows, so it's not a huge
Just
deal.
reminding them to get some pity bucks.
It's not a huge deal. So we have AOC, which I put up on my Adam Friended secret channel. And I knew this. It's funny. I've had this video for months now because I like watching it like in slow motion.
Oh. I was about to say that.
No, I've had this video for months and months. And it's what is amazing
Watching
about
it for
this?
months and months.
I know. What is funny about this, and we're talking about the topic of wizards, is how much a narrative is important to a story going viral. Okay, so this thing has been floating around probably 3-4 months. I've had it, and I thought, why the hell isn't this thing viral? This is crazy.
I thought this video just came out like a couple weeks ago. What are you talking about?
No, I've had it. I've
The
had
dancing video?
Yeah, the reason I uploaded it to my secret channel was because I knew it would get it got 150,000 views because I knew.
Oh, you're
like,
saying you uploaded it before it was cool, is what you're saying.
No, I'm saying I downloaded it before it was cool. Like I knew that it was out there. I could not understand why the video wasn't viral because I mean it's an amazing video. We're gonna watch it here. It's amazing.
Because you needed someone like QAnon to attack it.
Exactly. It needed the narrative. It needed the narrative. And the narrative with the video has been, and it's completely fake news, but the narrative has been that the conservatives were trying to make fun of AOC and it backfired on them because now people like her even more.
Right.
So I have this theory. I don't think I've ever said it before, but I have this idea that the reason things go viral or the reason things are news is because there's some kind of irony to them. Like irony is really like caviar for the mind. People really hook into irony. And
Isn't that one of the because it violates fairness?
Maybe so.
Because irony is like hypocrisy.
Exactly. Yes. Irony is when the intended result is directly opposite of the proposed result or the wanted result.
I've
So
heard that song. Okay, I know what it is.
what song?
The irony song.
Oh, I haven't heard it.
You haven't the famous Alanis Morissette ironic song that nothing
Oh
in it's
yeah, yeah,
actually
no, I've
ironic.
heard that. I've heard that.
Okay.
I've heard
Okay.
that a million times.
Yes.
It's also in a movie that I'm spacing on the movie right now. It's a super popular movie back in the 90s, but the irony here is the intention was to hurt AOC, and really they helped,
Right.
right? It's completely opposite. You
Even
can
though
look at
it's fake irony because it didn't actually happen.
yeah, exactly. But this is why the narrative, like
Right.
if you want something to go viral, think in terms of irony. Like if like a lion tamer being hurt by a lion is irony, right?
Mm.
You know,
So you're saying that I should frame all my future videos as being ironic
if you
in the
can,
title?
you stand a much stronger chance of them going viral. You do.
There you go. Everyone listening, make everything you want to go viral, make it ironic.
But I look at this in news stories and other stories. I look at that. I look for the irony. Irony is what just people gravitate to. It's so fascinating.
I think you're right.
So shall we watch this?
Hit it.
Can we watch it a few times? Because it's only
silly
a minute.
video.
I think we should watch it more than once.
No, I don't think you should watch it.
Come on, please.
Just one time is enough.
All right, here we go.
If we watch it more than once, I'm gonna have to tell your wife what you're doing in here.
Everybody has seen this video already. We're like a week late to the party. This video is not going to help. I spent a good 2-3 hours on that thumbnail.
That's the real thing. Yeah. Okay. Last week, I'm like, okay. Here's the thing. I gotta tell people the story. Friended for a while had been like, oh, I want to do this video with Owen Benjamin where he calls Jordan Peterson a wizard. I'm like, oh, okay. Like, I'm thinking like the thumbnail is gonna be like Hagrid from Harry Potter saying like, you're a wizard, Jordan, and he's something like funny like that. And it's like, nope, it's AOC now because boobs.
Come on, never underestimate the power of a thumbnail.
Like, okay, whatever.
Where's the bingo? We're hitting them out of the ballpark here. We're talking about thumbnails again.
Yeah, you didn't win the bingo last time. I gotta make sure everyone knows that because you cheated. You literally cheated.
Let's talk about something else. Now, what's wrong with this video? I feel like we should have the eye tracking on me just for some fun. Have you seen that clip that's been going around about the eye tracking guy who's like, I'm not gonna look at the boobs. I'm not.
Yes, I've seen it. Yes, I could just.
I'm imagining.
I'm imagining like you as like a cartoon, and you're like floating in the air, and you have like the little hearts in your eyes, and your mouth just hanging open.
Oh my, it's the anime. So in my version on my secret channel, I had Imagine by John Lennon, which is like the most communist song I could think of, which I think was really, really helpful. It's much different with the different song. People have uploaded this with a lot of different songs. So
are you going to get like an anime waifu body pillow with her on it?
I don't know. Is there...
Cuddle up with it?
I have
you put it in between you and your wife in the bed.
I have a bit of an ethical dilemma with this. Like
with anime waifu pillows?
Well, I think, okay, when they do perfect like sex robots, someone's going to want like an AOC sex robot. Not me. I mean, I'm innocent, okay? But I'm just saying, like, there's something weird about that, isn't there? Because in this day and age, that means that whoever the sex robot likeness is, like that person licensed their likeness. That's weird.
So there's going to be a bunch of underground unlicensed sex robots.
Oh man, that's got movie written all over it, doesn't it?
But because I think the sex robot thing is way far away. But I think what's
really
closer is in 10 years they're gonna probably perfect that, put their face on anyone's body technology.
Yes. Yeah.
So there'll literally be porn of every person in existence.
So you didn't watch the Vice thing on the sex robots?
I did not watch the Vice
Yeah.
thing on the sex
Okay, so
robots.
if you watch that, there's a Vice documentary on sex robots. What? It's a documentary, okay? Come on. It's research. We're journalists. We're detectives.
You're typing through, you're typing Jordan Peterson on YouTube for looking for material, and then for some reason you see Vice sex robots. You're like, oh,
Oh man,
research. Click, click.
all the sex robots are in my feed. YouTube is like, well, Adam will like this. The
Sex robot.
but
That's the picture. That's the picture for the stream. Adam with sex robots.
If you watch that Vice, it's hard to watch that and think that it's a long ways away. In all honesty,
Why? Give me the short rundown.
They're just perfecting robots so quickly.
No,
they're perfecting robots very quickly.
When you say sex robot, like what are you talking about? You're just talking about like a doll that you just hump that just doesn't do anything?
They have the doll that you hump already.
I know.
Right? But I'm talking about like a walking, talking robot.
That's so far away. Like
no,
it's not gonna have.
They have a robot now that can jump in the air, do a flip, and land on its feet.
See, but so what? What is the huge difference between jumping and doing a flip? And I can have a conversation with a person. You know what can jump in the air and do a flip? A frog. A tiny bug can jump in the air and do a flip. Doesn't mean it can talk to you.
Right. Yeah. No, I see what you're saying. It seems like the talking to you part, though, is the easiest part to fake. Dude, haven't you seen Watson on Jeopardy? Come on.
Yeah, but he had such narrow parameters.
Well,
that's the problem, is that it's easy to program a robot or computer to do something when it has super narrow parameters. It becomes more difficult when you're like, oh, you just need to exist in the world, where you just have to like interact with people and talk to them.
Don't fight it, Sitch. You're just having sex with a robot. It doesn't have to. It doesn't have to blow your mind. Okay.
But here's the thing. Even if that technology does become good enough, like, do you think that's going to be socially acceptable? I mean, it's not socially acceptable now.
What do you mean?
Like, if you go over to your friend's house and he like opens his closet and he's got like a sex doll in there, everyone's gonna make fun of that person.
Haven't you seen that guy that's the Rosa Parks of sex dolls? He's trying to make it sex dolls acceptable. He's like, women,
I'm sure Rosa Parks is so happy to be linked to sex dolls.
Let us know in the chat that guy's name. I think it's David something.
No, his name is the Rosa Parks of sex dolls.
He calls himself the Rosa Parks of sex dolls, right? He has he has a sex doll. He's totally open about it. Like, he's always posting pictures. He talks about how women, it's totally acceptable for women to use vibrators. Nobody gives them a hard time about using vibrators. Just because men need a bigger vibrator doesn't mean it shouldn't be socially acceptable.
The sex doll is like, it's supposed to be like a replacement for a person. The vibrator is not.
Are you shaming people?
I'm not. I don't care.
I feel a lot of shame.
I'm just saying. I don't think it's going to be socially acceptable to like open your closet and have your walking around sex robot.
You got to watch that Vice. We should watch that Vice thing next week together, just so you can be like, oh. We got to do a face reveal just so we can see the shock in your eyes. Oh my God.
There you go. Man faces world for $5. Adam falls in love with AOC, then Adam gets demonetized. Not a coincidence.
Oh.
Time for I can't say it. To rise up against the fascist YouTube bourgeoisie. The proletariat. There you go.
It is very suspicious.
Caffeinated Fiend for 5 Canadians. Since we're objectifying people, hey Sitch, so about Valentine's Day, do you maybe want to flip a coin to see who gets to ask Adam's cat? No, Caffeinated Fiend, you can have Adam's pussy. That's all. That's all you. You go for that, Adam's pussy. A radio plastic for $5. Here's for People's Equals R. I was literally researching where the hell it came from when you uploaded it. Good minds think alike. Oh, and more Bongo Cat, please. I'm sorry, Bongo Cat is dead. Also, hi, sidekick Adam. And Eric47851 for $2. I love the laser eyes on the thumbnails.
Yes.
See,
Sidekicks are good for something.
he likes the laser eyes. He doesn't like the tits.
The original one had Sitch smiling.
Yeah. And I said, no. Yeah,
Yes.
you got to change it.
Yes.
What
Downward
people
frown.
probably don't know is that for these streams, like, you do all the work. I just show up.
Well, not you read all the super chats and stuff. Don't sell yourself
No, but I mean,
short,
like,
buddy.
all the preparation stuff.
I got it down to it's like a few button clicks.
Okay, it's all streamlined. Man Faces World for $2. Press 1 if you think Adam buys a sex doll for research.
Research.
No, honey, I'm doing a YouTube video on sex dolls. I have to buy this.
You have to watch the Vice documentary. You honestly do, because the guy who,
Oh my god,
the reporter, is so uncomfortable. It's hilarious. Yeah, he's like totally uncomfortable around these things.
Why?
I know, that's what I would be raging in there and going, research, gotta, so I gotta have sex with it, right? Just so I can be able to write my
I just think it's
article.
funny. I wouldn't be uncomfortable. Is some like SJW guy or something?
I mean, is it cheating if it's a robot? Come on.
Let's finish.
Hold on. There's a lot of ones there. What do we, hold on. What do I, 0. Boom. There we go. How can you make a poll and not have the opposite?
Because there doesn't need to be an opposite. We all know what's gonna happen.
Oh my goodness. This is embarrassing.
You're gonna buy a sex doll and you're gonna get an unlicensed AOC one from the underground.
Oh my goodness. It's probably gonna record my every move. It's like a survey. It's like
what they'll do is you can just buy like a sex doll and you could like change the face and you could just use your 3D printer and people will like upload faces that you can just print out.
Oh man, they will, won't they?
This is the future you asked for.
People will probably be having sex with Sitch faces. Think of that.
No. Yes, who the fuck would want that? That's terrifying.
It is terrifying, but probably will happen.
Press 1 if you think Adam is gonna print out a Stitch face for his sex doll.
No.
Wrong.
This was Sitch's favorite part of the video.
That guy is so fucking creepy looking.
That's Daddy Longneck.
How do you get that skinny?
It's crazy.
Like, you actively, like, I'm a skinny person. I've always been a skinny person. I've never been like stick man. Like, you have to actively work to get like that.
Is this crazier than Beyond the Black Rainbow?
Yes. Easily.
Well, we don't have to finish it out. We have Owen Wizardry coming up.
Yeah, see, Christian Kane for $2. What happened to Mr. Owen Benjamin?
Coming up.
He's coming up.
Just in time.
We got rid of his silly meme he wanted to show off to the world.
Wizard.
The only reason we did that was so that we could use AOC in the thumbnail. Just being truth in advertising here. Just being honest with you guys.
We'll put we in quotes there.
We. Oh, I'll take
blaming
the blame.
you for
I'll
everything.
take the blame for this one. People have been wanting us to talk about Owen Benjamin for, I don't know, months it seems.
It's true, and it's weird because I don't know anything about him.
Really? Okay. So I like Owen Benjamin, but it is getting more and more difficult to say that. Because Owen Benjamin, I mean, even in recent days, there's a slew of clips people are uploading, him going off on Joe Rogan, calling Joe Rogan just like horrible things. Horrible.
How can you hate Joe Rogan?
I think, in all honesty, I think Owen feels jilted by that community. I think that community's kind of hung him out to dry. So, I mean, I understand the logic behind it.
Oh, he's a comedian, right?
Yeah, he's a comedian. So
he was on Joe Rogan.
Yes, he's been on Joe Rogan, I think, like 2 or 3 times, actually.
So what's he doing attacking Papa Rogan? How dare you?
It's not in this video,
Mhm.
but I've seen another one where Joe Rogan was talking to somebody on his podcast, and the person on the podcast asked about why there is a piano at some comedy club, because he's never seen anyone do a piano show. And Owen Benjamin is a concert pianist. And has
Mhm.
incorporated that into his act and has used that piano. And he was super offended that he didn't get a mention on Joe Rogan because Joe Rogan knows that he has used that piano in that comedy club. Yeah, so he feels totally jilted that Joe Rogan didn't in that second think to mention him.
That's the lamest beef of all time.
It is. It's totally lame. Especially since when you're doing a live show, like we do a live show like this once a week, I listen back and there's so many things that I could have said or forgot to say, or you're in the moment. You're trying to you're
It's
not
like having a normal conversation with someone. You're not going to be like, "Oh, I'm on my A game all the time. I'm going to remember every single fucking thing I want to bring up."
Yeah, exactly. So, but I feel that Owen Benjamin, and I uploaded a clip of Owen Benjamin calling Jordan Peterson gay, saying that he was gay, and it's a hilarious clip. It's on my Adam friended secret channel. Owen Benjamin left a comment on that clip saying, "It's totally true. Jordan Peterson is gay." In the clip though, he dials it back. He says, he's like, I don't have any evidence or anything like this. It's obvious he's doing it satirically, and it's hilarious. It's a funny clip, but I didn't want to upload it on my main channel because, I thought, he might regret this. He did it in a live stream. Obviously he was being funny. People could take it out of context and hurt him. So I just uploaded it on my channel. It doesn't even have 1,000 subs because I thought it was fun. And he left that comment saying, "Oh yeah, it's totally true. Jordan Peterson's totally gay." And I responded to the comment and I said, "Owen, I got nothing but love for you, man. Seriously, you're going a little crazy, but I think you should. If this doesn't hurt your feelings or anything, you should upload it on your main channel because it's a great clip and it's totally hilarious." Obviously, he never did that, but he seemed totally self-aware when I had that interaction with him. But now it's getting to the point where I'm kind of wondering, is he self-aware or is he just kind of going into like bonkers land?
He was being satirical for so long that he's become the satire.
Well, he did a live stream with Vox Day, and I watched a tiny bit of it, but I really have a low tolerance for Vox Day because the thing that bugs me about Vox Day is I've listened to some of Vox Day's other stuff where he's not talking about Jordan Peterson, and the guy is completely rational. Like he makes good arguments, rational arguments. I obviously don't agree with all of his arguments.
I was about to say, the white nationalist is making good rational arguments. Is that what you're saying?
Just you don't have to necessarily agree with somebody to realize that they're using like logic, reason, and evidence, right? But with the Jordan Peterson stuff, like he doesn't even bring evidence into play. Like the evidence he brings in is so flim-flam ridiculous. I'm like, what are you doing? Like what's I just have a low tolerance for that. I mean, you understand that the white nationalists have like a bit of evidence that they tend to blow completely out of proportion.
Right.
So, but
you and I are describe it as logical or rational.
The irrational part is where they blow it out of proportion. So
right. And people have been asking us to do Vox Day for a long time, and it's like, I don't know, I can literally not sit through that Vox Day Jordan Peterson video. It's so fucking boring. Like I tried to because I put clips of it in my Jordan Peterson alt-right video. And it's like, I'm just listening to this, like he's not saying anything. He's just fucking droning on and on about like nonsense.
I think the Vox Day clip that I was agreeing with him that I'm probably referencing here is the one where he's talking about the Dunning-Kruger effect.
Which he's victim of himself.
No, I completely agree. Yeah.
There's your irony.
But he was making But he was making a lot of logical sense about the Dunning-Kruger effect and how the Dunning-Kruger effect affects both ends of the spectrum, because not only does it, like people are always talking about the bottom end of the spectrum where people think they're much smarter than they actually are. But nobody ever talks about the top end of the spectrum where people think other people are much smarter than they actually are.
Oh, I thought you meant like, because you can be really smart and still be like really fucking dumb about certain topics, because it doesn't have, like, your intelligence is completely at the mercy of your emotions and the way your brain works.
Very much so. Yes.
Yeah, so that's how you get all these like really smart people, like, you know, Ezra Klein, for example, who believe really stupid shit.
Yes. Who believes America is a wasteland of racism.
Wasteland of racism.
Oh God. Racist. Ezra Klein is a racist. I'm not afraid to say it.
So
Anyone who sees race everywhere is a racist. I can't think of a better way to describe him.
so is Owen Benjamin, he's just conservative, right? He's not like alt-right guy or anything.
Owen Benjamin? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't think he's an alt-right guy. No.
Okay.
I think he is a conservative Christian, and I think he goes into that here.
He definitely goes into that.
I think the Christianity might be tainting him. But so you don't have an opinion on Owen Benjamin?
No, I don't know anything about him except for this one video that I saw.
I would like to take this as more like an intervention than a typical roasting Owen Benjamin video. Because
but you know how it's going to turn out.
Well, I think Owen Benjamin is funny. I really do. And I think Owen Benjamin has a legitimate beef. And I've mentioned this before, I'll mention it again. Jordan Peterson has a comedian on his tour. Okay. Owen Benjamin was among the circle. Like, conceivably, Owen Benjamin could have been offered that gig on Jordan Peterson's tour.
Right.
And I'm not sure if he was. I mean, if we ever talk to Owen, I think I'd be interested to ask him, hey, how did that go down? Like, were you... I mean, he seems open about everything else, right? Like, he's talking about how Rogan is short and he could beat him in a fight and all this. Like, why wouldn't he tell us how he felt about when Jordan Peterson picked Ruben to be on his
he's
tour with
spurned.
him.
He wants to be Jordan Peterson's guy. That's what you're saying.
Does it seem logical? I mean, it seems completely logical.
Well, has he interacted with Jordan Peterson at all, like in person?
Yeah, he's interviewed him. Yes, he's talked to him.
Maybe,
yeah, definitely.
Maybe you're onto something.
No, I think so. I think it is. I think he's interacted with Jordan Peterson privately. I think he was in that circle. He might have even been the one that suggested Rogan I think he was on Rogan before Jordan Peterson. He might have even said, hey, you got to get this guy Peterson on. He's great. That would
Peterson betrayed him for Ruben, the safe gay alternative. You know, David Rubin is like the perfect person to put out in front of his brand. You know, he's
oh, you're right. Yes,
he's
you're
gay.
Right.
He's, you know, inoffensive.
Do you know why?
He doesn't say anything.
Yeah, so I'm actually agreeing with you that Ruben was the right choice then, because do you know why another reason why Benjamin is so spurned towards Hollywood in particular? I think he mentions Hollywood in this video, but he was at Creative Artists Agency, the same agency that Jordan Peterson is at now.
Mm-hmm.
And he came out hard against the trans stuff and was basically labeled a transphobe. So if Jordan Peterson put him out in front, it would be saying something that
right.
unconsciously.
It would just confirm.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, and also because, at least from this one video, you know, he's very, very pro-Christianity. And even though Jordan Peterson's pro-Christianity, he's not, as we've talked about, you know, whether he's really a secret atheist or not. So maybe that's another reason he doesn't want this guy.
Yeah, very much so. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to talk about this video, because of the Christianity stuff. So should we dive in?
Let's hit it.
Wizardry. A lot of you guys, when I criticize Jordan Peterson, who is a powerful wizard, he even tricked me. And I can see this shit in my own way. A lot of people say, but he's good for Christianity. He's a Christian in this crazy world, and he's bringing men back to Christianity. A lot of you guys have said that. You're like, I love his biblical
Stop it.
I know, you can't. What's going on? Wizardry.
Should we? Because I don't even know what he doesn't really explain what the fuck he means when he calls him a wizard.
Jordan Peterson is a powerful wizard. Okay,
he's a powerful level 99 mage. Okay.
Do you? I mean, I have a hypothesis. What he means? He means someone that is tricking people. He means it nefariously.
Right. He means someone who's uses. I'm assuming he means someone who uses persuasion.
Yeah.
Nefariously to a high degree.
Now, are we wizards?
No, we would have higher subcounts if we were wizards.
But I think we have the whole ethical thing that stands in our way. Because
I
honestly think, like, yeah, sure, I could manipulate people.
It's true. See, if anyone ever doubts you, you can say, hey, I had the video that could have destroyed Owen Benjamin, and I decided not to put it out.
Exactly.
I'm a nice
exactly.
guy.
Why didn't I put that on my main channel and get 100,000 views off it?
Because you're not a top lobster.
I have this thing called ethics. I don't like.
I don't know if you heard of it.
I don't want to bury Owen Benjamin for my own benefit. Jesus.
Never mentioned the Bible. Do you know he did a
Go ahead.
3-hour biblical lecture once and never brought it up? And he kept getting laughs. That's one reason why I'm ashamed of my own profession, not the way I do it. Laughter is a way to diffuse truth if you do it wrongly. That's why there's good magic and bad magic. Not good magic.
You got to decipher that.
Laughter.
I'm already confused.
I guess what he's saying is that, you can use jokes to kind of make people agree with you, even if you're saying something that's untrue.
Like laughter is a way to deceive people, I guess, is what he's saying, which I completely agree with.
Right. But I mean, you could say that about
Sam
anything.
Harris uses it all the time.
Who does?
Sam Harris.
Sam Harris uses laughter?
To deceive people, yeah.
He's like so not funny. What are you talking about?
Sam Harris is big because he is funny. You haven't watched enough Sam Harris to realize this.
I guess.
Yeah. Sam Harris is
Oh man, I used to listen to Sam Harris all the time, and then when I found Joe Rogan, I'm like, oh, Sam Harris is so boring in comparison.
He's funny like you're funny, like barely just a tiny bit funny.
Go fuck yourself.
I know,
how dare
I couldn't
you?
help it. I couldn't help it. I couldn't
How
help it.
dare,
I thought you were setting me up.
Chat, I want everyone to shame him. Shame this man.
Send me a 1 if Sitch is barely funny.
No. Oh my god. Oh
no, watch. It's gonna be zeros all the way.
Ugh.
Jesus.
Magic, but truth magic, which is what comedy should be. Like, I remember Sam Harris was pinned about his
Oh my god, did I call it?
You called it.
Deterministic worldview that he uses just to gain power and money. And it was a woman, and that matters because it's more relatable. You hear mother, and you could tell as a fan, and not trying to take him down or anything, was like, how do I teach my 8-year-old about determinism? Like, how do I tell him that, like, life is already planned out and he has no free will? How do I teach a kid that? And Sam Harris goes, lie. And everyone laughed. And then he moved on. He wasn't joking. That was how he diffused it. That was magic. You can't teach an 8-year-old that the world's determined.
Does that count as him comedically diffusing it? If he's not joking, like
he wasn't joking. Yeah, he's telling you the truth.
Yeah.
That's what I tell people. I mean, you lie. That's what you. What do you? The whole idea behind Christmas is, you're going to lie to your kids for, 5 to 7 years, and they're going to learn something along the way, and then you're going to tell them, hey, guess what? We lied to you for the last 7 years.
What do you learn from Christmas? To behave?
Generosity, behavior. Yeah, are you kidding me?
Okay.
Like, presents are heaven and hell. They're heaven and hell.
You're talking to a Jew boy here. I didn't grow up with this fantasy.
Well, you got presents. Okay. You got presents for 10 weeks. I know how. I was jealous.
8 days. Wait a minute.
I was jealous as hell of the Jews. Are you kidding me?
Okay.
You guys got multiple days of presents. I don't want to hear your bullshit.
First of all, I have to say my parents are the worst ever at giving gifts.
Oh my
My mom,
God.
like all the gifts had to be educational. You know, they had to be like bullshit gifts. Like, no, I can't buy you them video games. You play that Super Nintendo, you know, too much as it is, Sitch.
Oh
you know,
my
gotta get you
God.
some like coloring books or educational.
You know what my dad got me? My dad
What?
got me a car with a little gas engine and a prop on it, like a one of those airboats,
Dad got, what do you mean? Like a little car? Like the little kid
like a
cars?
little remote control car. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, I thought you
they
meant
have
like
them.
like the little ones the kids drive around in.
Right. They have them that are badass now that are all electrical. But when I was a kid, they didn't have those kind of electronics. So it was all like these gas engines and stuff.
God, you're such an old man.
I know. But when I finally got that thing going, because it took me forever to get the engine going, dude, the thing went like 70 miles an hour.
That's pretty cool though, yeah.
But I rammed it into a wall. It lasted like 30 seconds because once it got going, it was like so out of control that it just smashed into a wall and broke into like a million pieces. I was like, Christmas is great. Yeah. I didn't get educational stuff.
Yeah, the only thing my parents, like mythical thing my parents lied about was the tooth fairy, and that only lasted it literally they
Really?
fucked it up. They fucked it up on the first time I lost my tooth because they're like the first tooth they would give me like a little present, you know, beyond just $1.
Mm-hmm.
And they gave me the exact thing I wanted. So I said, "Hey, wait a minute. Wait a minute. This is way too suspicious." Little 6-year-old Sitch is like, "Hey, wait a minute. This is bullshit. How's the tooth fairy know what I wanted?"
That's smart, man. They knew they had the IQ. They were like, well, he figured that tooth fairy thing out very fast. I think we should go with educational gifts from here on out. Your dad was like, I think that's great.
Oh, you're right. I doomed myself. Damn it.
You did.
Damn it. Oh.
I milked Santa for me and my cousin would talk about it. Like, maybe we should just not tell him that we don't know Santa doesn't exist.
See, I thought I was smart. You were like way like 10 levels above me.
We're like, let's milk this present train for a couple more Christmases. What do you think?
All out of bubblegum for $5 just says wizard in all caps.
Yes.
And contrast for 2 Aussie bucks says Can you read this one?
Don't be a sidekick. Be funny like. Okay. Get fucked. I don't like that. I don't like that. I don't like that.
Don't be a sidekick. Be funny like Sitch.
I know. That's what I did. I read it all.
Yeah.
I read it all. What, are you trying to make me read it a second time? Come on. My feelings are hurt. I have feelings here, okay? I'm not just a sidekick you can push around.
Deterministic universe, because they would kill themselves, and suicide is on the rise with little kids.
Speaking of hilarity,
Suicide is on the rise with little kids. I know.
Is Sam
Citation
Harris
needed, but whatever.
Is Sam Harris fully deterministic? I thought he was kind of agnostic about that.
I think Sam Harris is this is where I kind of agree with him. I think Sam Harris is milking it for books because you can't. He made the book Free Will, and then he's making a pitch for objective morality. I think he's just.
What was the Free Will book about? That there isn't free will?
The Free Will book the Free Will book is awful, terrible. I lost all respect. Like, this is when I stopped buying Sam Harris books because what?
Is this funny?
Why I lost all respect for him, okay? So the end of the book. So he makes a very coherent case for determinism, all the stuff I had heard before, but he decides to end the book with this weird kind of postmodern, almost poetry. It's bizarre. And where he's like, oh, did I mean to write that? Or did I mean to write this? Or is this deterministic? Or what if this sentence is? It's like, what the hell is going on here? Like, you just drifted into some Dada movie. It was bizarre. And it didn't make any kind of, like, I expect books to end on like the strongest argument for determinism, not some free-flowing stream of consciousness gobbledygook.
So, was the end of the book him kind of like backtracking and saying there is free will?
No one knows. No one knows what the end of that book means. I've been tempted to upload just the end of it because it makes him sound like he's crazy.
I mean, it is a good point in that if you are completely deterministic, then what's the point of advocating for anything? Like in terms of social change.
There is no purpose.
Yeah, like, well, okay, wait a minute. When you say deterministic, I guess that means that can mean different things, because you can say like, oh, if free will doesn't exist because people are just reacting to, their brain is creating learned behaviors and emotions based on things that happened to them when they were young.
Mm-hmm.
And if that's what you mean when you say deterministic, you could still advocate for change, because you're saying, well, if you change the things that happen to kids as they're growing up, they're going to be better people. So you could make that argument.
Well, the argument that people make is that the problem with determinism is you can't punish people if they're just acting out what their genes and environment predetermine them to do, right? I mean, if free will doesn't exist, they're like, oh, I had to kill my wife, It's like,
well, you could punishment. I mean, jail isn't supposed to be necessarily a punishment. It's just we need to get you away from everyone else.
Well, that's not the philosophy behind it.
Well, it can be, though.
They call it rehabilitation.
It's still working exactly the same way.
They call it rehabilitation.
Yeah, but that's obviously bullshit.
For a reason.
Yeah. No one's rehabilitated in prison. Okay, there's like 10 people that are rehabilitated in prison. And you know why? And you know why, Adam friended, those people are rehabilitated in prison?
Because it's deterministic. They were destined to be rehabilitated.
No, I was setting you up for your religion, your pro-religion atheism nonsense.
Oh, okay.
It's because they find the Lord.
They do.
You shouldn't lie to your kids. Keep things from them. Polish things. Like dad and mama loved each other.
This clip is on Owen Benjamin's Clips channel, so I don't know what those cuts are. I think he's just cutting out pauses.
Yeah, we didn't.
Now we have Walter, and we love Walter. When I say don't lie to your kids, I don't mean it's like, well, the dick goes in the pussy. Like, protect them, but don't speak false to your kids. That's why I had this issue with Santa Claus. I'm teaching my son that Santa Claus is the spirit of giving. I'm not saying he lives in the North Pole and is on a sled. I can't do it. But I also don't want to be like Buzzkill. There's no Santa Claus. Like, you don't get to participate in this wonderful American tradition either. And that's why you have to figure out how to protect and nurture without lying. All right, so let's do a little Mandela effect, a little wizardry with one of the great living wizards, Jordan Peterson, a guy that I've been annihilated by for criticizing. See, I'll never do any of my call-out stuff that I've done in the past to leftists with any.
Are we just adding to the annihilation? We're just piling on this poor man.
You are, but I'm not.
Okay.
I'm all for Owen Benjamin to turn his life around. I think he's slidden down the path a little bit.
You saying he needs to clean his room and sort himself out?
The argument that he makes in this video is that Jordan Peterson is being deceptive. And Jordan Peterson is in a very different position than the rest of us that I don't think Benjamin is taking into account.
Sounds like you're making excuses.
Well, do you know the rule? The 12 it's one of the 12 rules. Do you know what it is? I like the sound effects.
Which rule are you talking about?
There is 12 rules for life. The first one is
not to lie.
The first one is lobsters get a lot of sex, and you want a lot of sex, so you should be like a lobster. That's the rule one. Top lobster gets all the girls. Women should be subservient to men. That's rule one. Okay.
Okay.
Obviously, I'm joking here. Okay, this is through my feminist lens here. Lobsters.
You need like a pink wig that you can put on when you go into your feminist lens.
I know. Oh, I wonder. I have like a ton of sunglasses here. I don't think I'd be able to see though.
No. Anyway, but seriously, I don't. What are you talking about? What's the rule you're talking about? What's the real rule?
The lying one. You almost said it.
Oh, the don't lie.
Nah, that's not the rule. That's not the rule.
I don't fucking know what the rule is.
The
I'm a
rule
sham.
is-
I'm a Jordan Peterson fanboy
Yeah,
sham. I haven't even read
totally.
his book.
Yeah, you just got kicked
I'm
out of the
sorry.
inter. You just got kicked out of the JBP Internet Defense Force. Seriously.
It's all I have left.
You know, in Dune, where they come out and they pull the heart. This is the part where I pull your heart plug out and watch you die. There you go. No more Internet Defense Force for you. The rule is tell the truth or at least don't lie. Right? Yeah.
Okay.
It's not tell the truth, which Owen Benjamin has incorrect here. Well, he is saying don't lie, but
Right.
I
Well,
think Jordan Peterson, this is the whole thing with the Christianity thing. Why it would take me 40 hours to answer that is the don't lie asterisk, right?
Maybe
It is.
Let's hear his words specifically before we delve into that.
Anybody on the right are conservatives or any of these guys because they're not nearly as evil as the left. Even the evil ones. I mean, you got some bloodthirsty neocon psychopaths and shit. Obviously, there's some real bad dudes, but I don't take it personally. I see it as magic. I'll do something like that, and like powerful conservatives will be like, hey man, we can't roll with that, and now we feel a little uncomfortable with and I'm like, wizardry. It's not the same feeling I have with leftist people that are like, listen, you are a monster if you don't bed this child. No, I think in general, conservatives, libertarians, nationalists, people on the right.
Okay, so trying to translate what he's saying. It sounds like he's saying, when I say something people on the right don't like, they come to me and they say, I don't support that. But when I say something that people on the left don't like, they say, I'm a monster. And therefore, that means people on the left are more evil than people on the right. Is that what he's saying?
Yeah, basically.
Okay, because that's fucking bonkers.
It is bonkers, totally. It's also it's one of the great untruths that Haidt talks about in his new book. It's like the world is divided into evil people and good people. Mm-hmm. And you're in an ideological battle. There are some people that are saying that when Alex Jones left YouTube, a lot of his audience was dispersed to other channels, and they're basically accusing Owen Benjamin of trying to scoop up that audience. Which is,
does he talk about conspiracy stuff?
Yes, yeah, he talks about how the moon landing never happened. I don't know if the frogs are gay yet, but I'm suspecting
they're turning trans.
So
I seen that Jurassic Park movie. I know that the frogs already are trans.
We had an interesting conversation before the stream began about how I'm under the impression that you can't really change people's minds, that people are really just out there looking for people who affirm their own beliefs. Mm-hmm. And it's fun. Like, how do you do? This is like the evilness of marketing, because someone out there is probably trying to figure out the actual percentages of each market. Well, there's like the conspiracy market.
You've had people change your mind.
My mind?
Yeah.
Not really. Really.
Hasn't some of the things Scott Adams said changed your mind?
No. I gravitated to Scott Adams because he was saying everything. I'm like, this guy gets it.
We've had situations where you've changed your mind on stream because of things I said. Okay,
I just pretended just to be cool. Just to be cool to you. I didn't want to hurt your feelings.
You just wanted to move the conversation along. So you're like, yeah, totally. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, no. The one, even the big things, I usually reserve. Like I try to keep an open mind about them, and while I'm collecting evidence. But then once I make up my mind, I usually just lock and load.
So when you say change your mind, I'm not talking about. I mean, obviously, I'm assuming you've changed your mind on your own. right? Like you thought about something one way, and then later in life you said, okay, I gotta change my mind.
I was wrong about that? Yes,
Yeah.
I have.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you're saying you've never in your entire life had someone tell you something and you've changed your mind.
I mean, I changed my mind based on logic, reason, and evidence.
Oh,
I'm a
because I'm
neo,
such a
man.
smart, enlightened
Yeah,
individual.
exactly. So well, listen, and this is one of the reasons why I like Scott Adams, because Scott Adams he understands that there are things that you can't necessarily know because you don't have enough information. I mean, Jordan Peterson makes the exact same point. He says, there are too many facts in the world for us to know certain things. We have to believe things. Otherwise, our lives don't work. But on many things, like for instance, when September 11th happened and all the anti-theist books started coming out, I started reading the anti-theist books, and I was very persuaded by them on the God question, whether or not God exists. That's one of the reasons why I am an atheist, because I really don't think there is any evidence that God exists. But at the same time, they were also making other arguments that they were kind of smuggling in this other premise that religion is evil.
Right.
And that I kept looking at their evidence and I'm like, well, let's hold off on that one because it doesn't, the thing that always bugged me was like evolution weeds out costly things. Just inefficiency, evolution weeds out. And sure, there are cases of inefficiency, but normally those cases can be put down to some other very much greater efficiency being tied to that little inefficiency. So really the net is an efficiency. And with religion, they never made their case. So I mean, even then I just kept an open mind until I read other people, Haidt in particular, who locked me in, and now like I don't think you could change my mind on that stuff, to be honest with you. I think I am in the confirmation bias situation on that stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
I guess it kind of reinforces what you're saying, is that even though I do believe that you can change people's mind, I think that most of the time it has nothing to do with logic or facts. It's mostly you change people's minds emotionally or because they trust the person emotionally.
Right.
So that kind of goes back to the religion thing, because religion isn't logic and facts. It's all emotion and source bias,
Wizardry,
and appeal to authority. So
wizardry.
So what we're saying is everyone here should become a Christian wizard and follow the Lord.
This is the thing that bugged me about this clip, is because Owen is saying that Jordan Peterson is basically a dick for not taking sides.
Yes.
Which completely would destroy what is great about Jordan Peterson.
Well, he's I guess for Owen claiming he's such a great wizard, he doesn't really understand magic at all.
He doesn't. He doesn't. That's the irony of this clip.
There's the irony. There it is. Should have put that in the title instead of fucking AOC's big titties, you fucking ass.
You mean on the thumb?
On the thumbnail.
No one wants to, come on. No one wants to see Owen's face. Come on.
That's true. That's a good point.
AOC's
You're right.
huge.
I take it back.
I'm trying to do the right thing.
That thumbnail's gonna. Well, you watch. It's gonna be our most popular, and we don't barely even talk about her.
I get that vibe, except for the neocon, globalist psychopaths. In general, I feel like they are, even if they're under a spell. Like, we didn't go to the moon, guys. And I forgive you guys for not knowing that. And even the guys that have attacked me. I've called flat earth people
Wait, so you're
like retards and morons and stuff. I still don't think the earth is flat, but I understand.
Oh, okay. I was worried. I was going to be like, wait a minute.
He doesn't believe we went to the moon.
Yeah, but I thought he was going to say he thought the earth was flat, which is possibly the dumbest conspiracy of all time.
He said the R word.
What's the R word?
I can't say it. I think it's like
Retard?
out of vogue now. Yeah. Oh my God, you're going full
Demonetized. No, I'm sorry, YouTube. Please forgive me.
for some reason, like when my wife and I talk about Riris, we don't call them the R word, we call them Riris. It's just always been that way.
That's
And now I
racist.
wonder, is Riri unacceptable? Because I mean, there's that meme of like Ree.
Oh, I was thinking because there's like a black little girl who's Iron Man, and her name's Riri. So,
Is there really?
yes,
No way, for real?
yes.
Oh,
Riri
that's
Williams.
hilarious. Riri is our name for Riris.
There you go.
Riri.
I remember I once had when I was a little boy, I would get warts on my toes for some reason.
Really?
Yeah,
Sharing a lot here. Can we see a
Huh?
photo?
But and I remember, so I went to this place and there had to be like a guy, and they would shoot them with a laser.
Mm-hmm.
It was like incredibly painful.
Oh my God.
I've been
it
hit by a
sounds
laser,
awful.
everybody. I've been hit by lasers. I know what it feels like. But so anyway, the laser guy thought that the moon landing was fake too. He's like, no, no way,
Really?
we haven't been to the moon. There's a radiation belt around the Earth that's just so toxic it would kill anyone that went past it.
That's pretty kooky.
Yeah, it was pretty silly.
If we live in a simulation though, we really haven't been to the moon.
Well, we've been to the moon in the simulation.
Right. But is it really the moon?
It's okay. Simulation theory. Don't get me started. I think simulation theory is so stupid. I don't even want to talk about it.
We
Tell
live
you
in
what,
that feeling of thinking you know something that others don't, and it's clear as day to you. And I apologize to those people. I remember once after a show, a fan of mine years ago, it was him and his wife, and she was talking about how the Earth was flat. And I was like, "Listen, lady, I love you guys, but like, I can't even listen to that nonsense." And the guy was like, "I know, right? But like, dude, don't say that out loud." And she's like, "I mean, what happens to water on a sphere?" And I'm like, "Lady, you're retarded, but I love you." You know, I'm doing a little wizardry to remove myself. And I feel bad about that now because
is calling a lady "I love you, but you're retarded." Is that wizardry?
Not very good persuasion there, Owen.
I feel like that's the opposite of wizardry.
I believe you, but you're stupid.
I get it. I get it. I've walked a mile in those moccasins now. Let's play a game. Has Jordan Peterson ever said he believes in God? Has Jordan Peterson ever said he believes in Jesus Christ? Has Jordan Peterson ever said that he even thinks Jesus Christ was a real person? Has Jordan Peterson ever said he's religious at all? Has Jordan Peterson ever said he believes in God? And here's the biggest part. He hasn't. You can tell what I'm doing here. He's a Satanist. And I'll tell you why. Because Dawkins, as much as I disagree with him and I think he's a worm, at least he has the integrity to say he's an atheist or whatever he is.
So this is where the whole thing makes no sense to me. Because like, even if I'm not 100% convinced on the whole secret atheist thing, but even if we're to concede that Jordan Peterson doesn't believe in God, why would him doing what he's doing make him a Satanist? It's not like he's turning people away from Christianity or any other religion.
No. This is why this clip bugged me so much, is because I'm like, Owen, you don't understand wizardry at all. Like the whole idea behind, like Jordan Peterson's wizard power is the fact that he's currently inhabiting both spheres. He's like, the atheists trust him and look up to him, and the Christians trust him and look up to him, and he's letting those two communities interact as Jordan Peterson fans, even though they have major differences between them. So he's healing the rift, which is this is why I was drawn to him. I'm like, finally, someone who's going to stop the war between. I mean, there are people that don't even think Christianity and science are incompatible, and it's just, that's not true in the least.
So Owen thinks that Jordan Peterson is Saruman, but he's really Gandalf the White, come to heal the divide between the kingdoms of men.
This is great. I don't know. I don't know any of
Critters, but now I'm going to cut you off. Critters bugging for $2.79 Canadians. Has this dude gone crazy? He legit seems crazy. And man faces world for $5. Jordan Peterson is a wizard con artist and sellout because he sells millions of books, or maybe fans contribute to him because they believe in what he stands for.
Yeah. Choice 2.
Choice 2.
Well,
And
I
I'm
get
like,
this.
fuck.
I hear this all the time. You agree with that thesis, right? That atheists and Christians are
Yes.
like he's helping the cause, correct?
Well, I mean, I don't know what the cause is that you're referring to. If you just mean people talking to each other.
So Owen thinks the right strategy is to call atheists Satanists and force
Well,
them.
I'm assuming Owen's cause is you have to believe in Jesus to save your immortal soul. That's not the cause that you're talking about.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
I want everyone to get along.
maybe, okay, wait a minute. Maybe that's the logic. He doesn't say this. I don't think he said this in the video, but maybe that's where his logic is that if you believe that you have to accept Jesus to save your soul, then you have someone like Jordan Peterson who's kind of like getting people on board with like sort of Christianity, but without the part that you need to save your soul.
Right.
Maybe that's what he's saying.
Right.
And
that's evil in his eyes.
Code. Yes.
That makes sense.
You, Richard Dawkins. But at least
Just a really good pop.
you say this shit. Watch this. And if you watch this and you still wonder why I criticized Jordan Peterson, by the way, I was under a spell with Peterson before where I thought he was secretly a Christian and he was waiting to get notoriety to reveal that because he didn't want to be persecuted by the atheist, leftist intelligentsia. That was my...
You know, it's always funny when you hear someone criticizing someone else and it kind of like reveals their inner shittiness. He's like, you see, I thought Jordan Peterson was secret Christian and he was just going to lure everyone in and then be like, bam, Jesus. But now I think it's the opposite. So he's evil.
I thought he was deceiving everyone for good, but now it turns out he's deceiving everyone for evil. Go deception.
I thought. So when he would dance these issues, I'm like, Peterson knows about what's going on, but he just doesn't want to be ostracized. It's the opposite. Peterson pretended to be Christian just enough to get the support of Christians because these people can't say they believe in Jesus Christ. That's why it's a powerful...
He's using you just like he used me.
And also, what he's saying doesn't even make sense because he's saying Peterson was pretending not to be Christian to avoid being ostracized. But now he's saying, well, now he's pretending to be Christian to also avoid being ostracized.
Yeah.
Doesn't make sense.
Well, that's truth magic. I don't know. I don't even want to associate it with magic, but like they can't say Jesus Christ saved us. That's one reason why like bad popes and shit, they're all about Latin. Like vampires still have rules. Like you have to invite them in. Watch Peterson right now. Watch this shit. Ready? Yeah, like Sticks and Hammer 666. That guy says he's an occultist. I despise the occult. I have total respect for the guy. I hate Islam. I love some Muslims. That's the way it works. Are you honest about who you are? Listen,
that crackling sound is from the video, right? You're not like...
It must be. I can't hear it when you stop the video. I thought it was
like
you.
maybe it sounds like he has like a fire going or something.
Yeah, I was going to tell you to stop with the pistachios. You know you're supposed to take the shells off those, Sitch. You're not supposed to
Oh,
eat
really?
the
I've just been
shells.
eating them like wholesale the whole time.
believe that Muhammad, he's a pedophile on a flying horse and he saves the day. But if tell me that honestly, if you're like one of these like secretive, watch Jordan Peterson, watch this. And if you ever freak out on me again about Peterson after watching this,
you're not freaking out on him, right? We're not. We're not freaking out.
I'm ready for this clip. Oh, this is definitive clip that's going to expose Jordan Peterson. I just can't wait.
I hope it's the one where he admits he's gay.
Just save your breath because we have nothing in common. This is wizardry to a T. Watch this.
The idol of millions of people is punting on the most important question in the world. It is a question of literal metaphysical truth before this question of psychology. Peterson has said that he behaved...
Jesus Christ.
What is it, bad audio?
The audio is so bad.
Behaves as if God exists, but he lectures as if he doesn't. It would be helpful for his fans and himself if he addressed the heart of the West crisis and meaning, God, yes or no.
So why does it matter? Like, why would that change what anyone's opinion of? Like, you either agree with what he's saying or you don't, right? Like, why do
Yeah.
you have to think, oh, I need to know if he believes in God or not? Because then you're not basing your opinion on what he's saying based on the words.
Yeah, you're basing it on whose team he's on.
Right.
Yeah, this is like immediately wizard power goes to 0 as soon as he does that. That's why I'm like, dude, you don't understand wizards.
So, okay, so here's the good analogy. Okay. Jordan Peterson is like the hot girl that does like the sort of porn, but she doesn't really ever show anything because she knows the second
now you're
second
talking
she shows
the
something,
AOC porn.
it's over. The second she shows anything, it's over. Everyone goes, okay, we've seen it, we're done.
Yep.
But if you don't show anything, then you keep stringing them along.
Also, I made the argument in previous videos that the thing that Jordan Peterson is really fighting is political polarization.
Right.
And as soon as he firmly plants both feet in one tribe, political polarization, it's just his ability to fight that, it drops to nothing. Because all of a sudden he's on one side of the culture war instead of the other.
I mean, he already is, because he's firm. You know, he is on the vehemently anti-SJW, anti-postmodern neo-Marxist side.
Right. Yes. As a leftist. Tell me he's not in both camps.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. It seems like politically, he seems to be pretty,
Centrist.
moderate.
Yeah. The only people that are placing him on the far Adolf Hitler right are the SJWs.
Right.
Yeah.
Can't.
What's
Can't.
going on?
I don't know.
Watch
It
this
just
slime
paused.
ball. And this is one reason why I love Vox Day, because he called this out way before I saw it. Watch Peterson pretend like it's a new thought. This is circus performing, guys. Guys, this is Gandalf the gay.
You called it, man. You nailed it.
I did. I forgot he called him Gandalf too.
Did you see the tweet that I posted?
Which one?
Oh my God. You gotta pull my Twitter up. Actually, I think I can do it. Oh, I can't believe it. I cannot believe it. We have evidence to prove he is Gandalf. So I was in his comment section and I screen capped. Someone had said, okay, JBP equal Gandalf, and he hearted it.
Oh, there you go. Jordan Peterson admits to being.
He admits it.
He admits it.
He's playing with you, Owen. He's playing with you.
He knew all along.
Hey, he's pretending it's the first time he's ever thought about whether or not he believes in God. So it looks like he's a tormented, like, moral man in chaos. It triggers emotions in you that you want to protect him and you want to serve under him. That's what I felt, because I felt like he, heavy is the head that wears the crown.
So when I heard Jordan Peterson talk, I mind read him and put in all these thoughts he didn't specifically said, and that made me convince myself I wanted to serve under him. So now I'm protecting you from also believing things that people don't specifically say and getting manipulated by their words.
But you have to be forced to believe the opposite. Well, see, this is what Jordan Peterson doing unethical, because I think there is an argument to be made that what he is doing is unethical, even though I don't think what he's doing is unethical. Like, I don't necessarily know how you do what he's trying. Like, how do you battle political polarization without doing something similar to what Jordan Peterson is doing?
Well, I don't know if I agree with you that I think Jonathan Haidt is trying to battle political polarization. I don't agree that that's what Jordan Peterson is trying to do.
Really?
Yeah. I think Jordan Peterson is trying to do is he's concerned with helping people through self-help programs and stopping the tide of what he views as neo-Marxism. I think that's his primary concerns.
But don't you think he sees the radical left as a pathology, an ideological pathology, and that that is part of the political polarization is a part of that.
Right, but what I mean is that, like, if you look at Haidt, he's very careful to try to not push people away. Like, that's how you fight polarization. You have to be kind of like this nice guy. I'm trying to tell you you're wrong without being like a fucking, without saying fuck you to your face.
Okay, so this is where we're going to talk strategy, because I often see Haidt as an ineffective Peterson.
Well, it depends. Okay, it depends what you mean. It depends what the goals are. As I think Haidt is more effective at possibly getting people on the left to come to his side, but I think Peterson is more effective at marshaling a force behind him that already agrees with him.
I think Haidt makes, if Haidt is trying to battle political polarization, as you say, I think he makes clumsy mistakes.
Well, he's only human.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, obviously, but
how can you attack Haidt? He's like your savior. He's your number one boy. What are you doing? What are you doing?
Well, first of all, I'm not in love with Jonathan Haidt. Okay,
we all know. Everyone here in the chat knows that if you bought an AOC waifu pillow cover, you'd have to take off the Jonathan Haidt one first to replace it.
Come on, Jonathan Haidt. I am in love with Jonathan Haidt's research. Like it is what Jonathan Haidt has brought to the world as far as understanding. That's what I'm in love with. It's like Haidt, Haidt is
not his big bushy eyebrows, huh?
No.
You want to stare into his
so I do agree with you that Haidt is fighting political polarization, but I mean, this is a question that I have about. This is a question that I have about how the strategy to fight political polarization, because if you don't have any kind of cultural impact, you can't fight anything, right? And the only way,
I don't know if I agree with that.
Okay, how do you fight?
You have a lot of people behind the scenes, right? That change things and influence things.
And Haidt is definitely working in that direction. I think Scott Adams is working in that direction as well.
No, Scott Adams is very not behind the scenes.
What do you don't think so?
No, I mean, he might be doing things behind the scenes, but I mean, he's very, people really don't like him. Like, he's very out there. Everyone knows where he stands.
Yes, but I think he is counseling people behind the scenes.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Haidt and Scott Adams share the same philosophy. They're both social intuitionists, right? You realize that. You know what social intuitionism is?
Yes.
Just for the people who don't know what social intuitionism is. Yeah, I know, the police are coming for me. They're wizards.
They knew you were spilling all of Jonathan Haidt's secrets.
We got a wizard over here
to protect you.
So social intuitionism is the idea that people are largely driven by emotions, and that they deploy their reasoning to just justify their emotional intuitions, as Haidt would put it. And Scott Adams believes the same thing. He always talks about being a hypnotist. He realizes everyone is irrational. They think that they're rational, but they are completely irrational. I believe that as well. But if you believe that, you tend to become more rational. Do you have an opinion on Scott Adams is diving into the climate change thing, which I think is super baller?
I mean, I've always been in the belief of the like that climate change is real.
Yeah.
I've never personally looked into it. So,
I mean, I have an Al Gore waifu pillow.
It would be fantastic news. It'd be incredibly wishful thinking fulfilled if it turns out that it wasn't true. That if the climate deniers are right. But I don't know. I haven't looked into it, so I reserve judgment on it either way.
Yeah, you're doing the same thing as me. This is why I say we aren't changing our minds. We just never made up our minds.
Well, that's not true, because I had made up my mind before.
Lightly, obviously.
No, I had been 100%. This is what happens. Okay, this is how people change. is that I had been 100% in the liberal bubble, and I believed everything.
Me too.
Republicans are stupid and liberals are smart, and blah blah blah, all that nonsense, all the elitism bubble nonsense.
They're all
And then
racist, sexist, homophobes.
That's right. Every white straight male is a racist, sexist,
except for
transphobe.
me.
Except, well, I'm not white, so. So I think what happens is, like, once you have like a major shift occurs, once you feel like you're personally attacked, which is how I felt with the SJW stuff,
Right.
It opens your mind to be able to like knock away all of the cobwebs and knock away the bubble. And the problem is, you have to, once you knock the bubble, once you pop yourself out of your own bubble, you have to maintain that uncomfortable position of just being floating in the air and trying to be, not to get sucked back into another bubble. As we were talking before the stream about, Candace Owens, who is the greatest example of a Cypher if there ever was one, who just switched sides immediately. So
she got a better deal.
She did get a much better deal for herself. That's true. That's a good point.
I was like, oh, you're against free speech, huh? Well, how about this? Climate change isn't real.
Right.
Just to make their heads explode. I'm like, oh yeah. Now I'm a climate denier.
Got him. But I'm assuming Owen doesn't believe in climate change either. I mean, if he doesn't believe we landed on the moon.
I don't know. I'm super stoked. For people who don't know, Scott Adams he does a daily Periscope, and he's diving into climate change, and he's looking at all of the pro and con arguments. I saw a movie a long time ago called Cool It, and it's with the guy, I can't remember his name. It's a very good movie that shows both sides of the argument. And after I watched that movie, I thought, wow, that was the first hint I had that maybe people were taking very extreme positions that weren't necessarily.
Bjorn Lomborg.
Yeah, that's him.
Yeah.
He did a live stream with Jordan Peterson, and the live stream was fabulous. I've told so many people about that movie, Cool It, and it was good to see him do a live stream. And Scott Adams even mentioned it, and I wondered if the reason Scott Adams is diving into the climate change thing is because of that live stream that Jordan Peterson did.
I think he's been doing it before then.
Right. Yeah.
Maybe that picked up, the pace though.
The politicians will say and do anything to get in power. And scaring the hell out of you is one of their signature moves. It's like the war. We have to stop the apocalypse. So I don't think Democrats are beyond saying that in order to get elected.
Right, but I think that the pro climate change stuff isn't coming from believing the politicians. It's coming from believing the scientists.
Right. Yeah. But Scott Adams said it best when he realized that there was a social penalty to being against climate change, and that is not an environment to foster good science.
Right.
If there's a social if normal people can't come out as skeptics against climate change without suffering some social ramification, what is somebody in the industry going to do when the data comes up funny?
Well, I remember, it was like on a Joe Rogan or something. I think someone was saying that the Al Gore climate change movie was actually really bad because it politicized the issue immediately.
Yeah. Yes.
Well, maybe that's part of the problem too, is that if it hadn't been, climate change hadn't been labeled as like a left-wing issue, then maybe scientists wouldn't have felt pressured to come out against it if they didn't believe it, in it.
I agree. Yeah. Politicizing issues is terrible. I don't think we should do it.
I mean, it's not really Al Gore's fault because I haven't seen the movie in a long time, but I don't think he didn't label it as a left-wing issue. It's just because, he's Al Gore that it got labeled that way.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
but he should have been smart enough to know that it would do that. I wasn't smart enough at the time. So.
And I'm like, look at him struggling. He's not struggling. They asked, do you believe in God? Yes or no? Bear in mind, he now makes like what, $6 million a month? He's a worldwide bestseller on any show. He's just on Dr. Oz, probably sodomizing each other. He doesn't need to hide what he is anymore. And Robert Moses will teach you all about concealment. Watch this answer, and never ever ever come at me again for coming after Peterson. If you tell me I'm envious, if you tell me it's because I'm bitter or I'm crazy,
That's what you were saying.
I know. Well, it's just so obvious, though. I mean,
like, just go away. Watch this answer.
Why not take on this question of the existence of God?
Because it's not.
Someone just, by the way, just before I show this piece of work, someone just in the chat said, so an atheist can't be a good person. I've talked about this many times. Of course an atheist can be a good person. I know atheists that are morally more sound that I would trust in a foxhole way more than people that claim to be these Christians. I don't think society can survive morally without Christianity, given 2 generations. I think there's a lot of atheists right now that have no idea where their morality comes from. It comes from God. They don't know. And I respect the fact that they can't see or touch God, and so they're not going to go with something they can't see. That's how the flat earth guys are like that too. As long as you're...
Did you know that there's an equivalence between flat earth and not believing in God?
yeah, I did.
It's like the same thing, basically, right?
Totally. Well, you're a skeptic of everything.
Angelically atheist, as long as you don't hate God. The problem I have with atheism is the hatred of God. It's not that they don't think God exists. Sam Harris knows that God exists, or else he wouldn't base his whole career out of destroying them. Like, I know atheists that you don't even know they're atheists. They're like, man, I just can't believe in it, man. Growing up, the priest was always a weirdo, and there's a guy in a cloud. Like, those guys, of course they're moral. They can be moral. Anybody that says you have to hold this book and say this word or else you're bad, they're wizards. I'll show you one with a big old hat. He's currently the Pope. So I just wanted to address that. Now let's watch Peterson.
Why not take on this question of the existence of God?
Because it's not something to reduce to a soundbite.
Yes, it is.
Fundamental.
Yes, it is. Say, I believe in God.
Good
Of course
answer.
I do. I'm Christian.
Good answer.
Look at that answer. Watch it. It gets even crazier.
But your lectures are 2 hours long.
This is true. But
When
you're talking about the most important questions that people have ever asked, then 2 hours isn't very long. Apparently, people will watch.
He needs more than 2 hours to say if he believes in the existence of God. And I'm going to analyze this on a different level.
Do you agree that Jordan's punting, right? We're in agreement there.
Yes. I don't know.
We just don't have a problem with it.
Yeah, I don't, because I don't really care. You think he's a secret atheist? I think that's a high possibility, but I'm not willing to stake all my money on it.
Right. What do you think? 50%?
Well, I said it. I think
50-50, 60-40, 70.
I'll say 70% secret atheist, 20% secret New Ager.
Oh my God! Really? He's secretly having calls with Deepak Chopra.
Secretly talking to Deepak Chopra, and 10% something that we just haven't thought of yet.
He didn't look in the trunk. He didn't save the raccoon.
He's got to be in the trunk. You're right.
He's got to be a new hater.
I'm telling you, a lot of the stuff he says, definitely Deepak Chopra. If they were on stage together, they would definitely play off each other well.
I would love to see that. We never watched the Deepak Chopra video. We didn't.
We
got to.
It wasn't that funny.
It
wasn't that funny.
You're buzzkill. Jeez.
There was a meme that was going around. I think you tweeted it out or retweeted it, which was the scene from Xavier Renegade Angel, where the guy. If people haven't seen the show, it's like this very absurd, philosophical nonsense show. That was on Adult Swim. It has very bad-looking CG animation, and there's a part where this guy's killing a bunch of people lined up, and he's asking them if they believe in God. And when he gets to Xavier gives this very long, rambling, kind of nonsensical answer, and someone just took it out and they replaced it with Jordan Peterson's answer.
Yes.
And it's funny because if you listen to it, it's almost the exact same thing that Xavier says.
It's so perfect too. Do you think he got it from Adult Swim? That would be awesome.
That would be amazing.
But it's so funny because in that scene, he's punting. He's doing the exact same thing that the character's doing.
Yes.
He's like, he doesn't want to answer because if he answers, he's going to get shot. It's the same thing Jordan Peterson's doing.
It may be as simple as what you were saying. It's just he's punting because he doesn't want to be labeled into one camp or the other because he wants to
too much to
broaden the appeal.
lose. He has too much
Yeah.
to lose. I do,
Right.
but I don't understand why none of Owen Benjamin's analysis here has anything to do with that.
Because wizardry.
Owen Benjamin has a 147 IQ. He should be mentioning this stuff.
Yeah, but we have 148. You know, that extra point lets us see into the
yeah.
mind of Peterson.
I think
on
I'm
one second.
floating maybe around like 95. we have a super chat I'm curious about.
Travis Anderson for $10. Why did you poll your subs on how they perceive your channel's political leaning, and what were the results? Well, the results were 86% center, and then it was like 8% left and 8% right. I don't know if my math is right, but the left and right were the same, and the overwhelming majority was the center, and it looked like the graph looked like a big penis, basically. And the reason I asked that was because there's a guy whose name I can't think of right now, who I was excited about because he had done an alternative to the Alternative Influencer Network report, the report that I did the video on, where basically they drew that crazy line graph and then said everyone on YouTube is a right-wing Nazi. And this guy had done his own version of that, and he had shown that actually there's a lot more left political content on YouTube and a lot more center political content on YouTube than there is right-wing content on YouTube, and how the original AIN report is bullshit. So I was excited about this, and I was going to do a video on it. But then I found out that I'm in that report, and I'm labeled as right-wing in the report. And I thought, well, that's really weird, because if you click on the report, he explains, you know, what his criteria was for how he labeled someone as left, right, or center. And one of the things was how you self-identify. And if you click on my About tab in my YouTube channel, it says right there, it says a liberal that doesn't like SJWs. So even though like, if I was to take one of those political compass tests, I would end up on the left. Even though, you know, I say I'm a centrist, and really, I think that really means is that I'm just trying to not be tribal and not be in a bubble. But so anyway, the point is,
You want to tear down the statues, you.
That's right. I want to attack it. There you go. There's your liberal left-leaning your liberal left-leaning northeastern pussy.
No
elitist.
respect for tradition.
I want to tear down the statues.
Fail.
So anyway, so I got in a conversation with this guy on Twitter about, like, I shouldn't be labeled as right-wing. It doesn't make any sense. And we kind of went back and forth, and it was like, I don't know. It was weird to me because I didn't understand why he had such a hesitancy to label me as center, or he put center/heterodox, which basically he was labeling heterodox as anti-SJW. And I'm like, I don't understand.
So you talked to the actual guy? You talked to the guy that did the report?
I did talk. Yeah, I talked to the guy and we talked in DMs.
Gotcha.
And I didn't understand his hesitancy to change me. Like, why would I lie about that?
Oh my God, you try to get him to change you.
Like, I think that if I came out as totally if I just became like total right-wing guy, like if I had become Hunter Avalon, I think my channel would have more subs right now and might get a lot more views, because I think people want that. They want you to be like, come out as left. They want you to come out as right. Most people don't want you to come out as like, oh, they're both suck. You know, that's a very like niche audience that we have.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. You'd be at 250,000 subs.
Right.
If you just came out as a right-winger.
Kind of like after this whole long rigmarole, finally he changed it, even though he was like, I'll change it, even though I think it's kind of, you know, tenuous that I'm changing it. I'm like, okay, fine. I'll take what I can get. So the reason I took the poll was because his definition was, I'm not saying that you're left or right. I'm saying that your content on your channel is right wing. Right. So the poll was, I don't think not only do I not think that my content is right wing, I don't think anyone views it as right wing. So the poll was to show, like, look, I don't know what you're in the minority if you think my channel is a right wing channel.
Wow.
So that's a long fucking answer.
I didn't know any of this happened. Are you kidding me?
I thought I'm surprised because the first half of my conversation with the guy was all public on Twitter. It wasn't in DM.
I didn't see any of it.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
And I went to his page and asked him what his methodology was because I'm labeled as right wing in there. And then I thought,
Right.
well, maybe I am right wing. Okay, I'll go with it. Blood sports, day one.
Apparently, he originally wanted to create his own, like a completely separate category that was just anti-SJW. And
Oh, interesting.
I mean, maybe that would have been a good idea for the people that don't, because there are definitely people that make anti-SJW content, like Hunter Avalon, who's a perfect example, who are definitely on one side or the other. But there are people like me who are not really on one side or the other.
He had a bunch of SJWs as centrist too. That thing was way off.
Oh, did
on
he?
A lot of people. Yeah. Yeah.
Like who? I don't remember. Because he had Contra as left, which makes sense, obviously.
He had a
So I
bunch of
don't
the
know.
anti-theist SJWs I'm fighting with as centrists. And I'm like, come
Like
on,
who?
buddy.
Like Jake? Like Hugo and Jake? Because that'd be funny if they were center. If they were
I
considered
believe-
center, that's ridiculous.
I did believe he had Hugo and Jake as centrist.
And he had, and
Yes.
there's a weird thing too, is that he had the quartering, who I could have sworn
As a
that
centrist.
he had the quartering
He
as a
voted for
centrist.
Trump. He has a MAGA
Yeah.
hat.
Yeah, like I thought, like, wait a minute, I thought he said he voted for Trump
He
like
did,
multiple
yeah.
times.
No, I'm telling you,
So-
that thing was so messed up. But I just think it's hilarious that he argued with you, like, because I looked at the methodology, and in the methodology, he said that he looked at these two websites, and I thought, well, am I in these websites? Because that
Yeah, we're not on those websites,
So I
obviously.
looked at both the websites. Yeah, I'm not in either of those websites. So I was like, this
I
is
don't know.
crazy.
It was weird, and because he had Chris Reagan as right wing too,
Yeah.
which is probably even more egregious than me.
Yeah.
So I don't know. There's a lot of weird. Again, as what you're saying, I don't know what's the point of him fighting me on it. Like I just say like, oh, I'm not. I didn't think it was. I think like, oh no, look, I'm not right wing. And I thought he was gonna be, oh, okay, I'll change it. Like I didn't know it was gonna be like a thing.
Yeah, I know. That is funny. Because he had, I thought, he guessed. That's what I thought. He guessed. He
That's what
guessed
I
and he got it
assumed, yeah.
wrong. Yeah. But then
And
for him
it
to
makes
fight
sense.
it.
I mean, he went through like hundreds and hundreds of channels, so obviously he's not gonna get them all right.
Oh, it's great. The report is great. That's why I didn't give him a hard time about it. But I guess you're like, no,
What
dude,
I didn't
look.
know what the time. I thought it was just gonna be like a thing. Like I just thought it was gonna be like an easy thing. Like I literally went back and like had to. He's like, oh, do you have like content?
It's like,
that
I
you
want to
think
see
shows-"
your voter registration.
Yeah, well, like you should go look. You should go find the tweets for this because it was all publicly tweeted. He's like, oh, do you have
my
videos that show you're not right wing? And I literally went back and like clicked on my videos where like I insult Trump or Sean Hannity or I like fucking I brought up that we had a fucking like 6-hour live stream where like all I did was criticize Jonathan Stossel for like 10 hours.
I know.
The Ben Shapiro live
You showed him
stream
the
where all I
John
did-
Stossel. No wonder he wouldn't budge on my right wing.
Yeah, like God, I don't know. It's weird.
That's funny.
Anyways, Chad Fitzgerald for $2. Hey Sitch, what is your opinion on the Mayo side? I don't know what that is. Do you know what that is?
No, I'm looking for the. I don't know. Maybe it's
Mayo
mayonnaise.
side. Out of the loop Reddit. Here we go. It's like genocide of white people.
White people.
But it's like
Yeah,
a
that's
joke.
what I thought.
Yeah, but it's like a joke. It's a meme. As a non-white person. That's right. I'm a non-white person. I don't care if the white people get bred out of existence. It's part of my Jewish conspiracy this whole time.
Fight for your people, buddy. Oh yeah,
I'm
no,
going to
we're-
lure everyone
we're-
who is going to be a white nationalist into centrism
we're
just
not
to
the-
let the white people fall.
I did see Spider-Man Into the Spider Universe, and I thought, wow,
It's really good.
I loved it. I did love it.
What's that have to do with white genocide?
Well, I just thought it's like people are losing their stuff over diversity in comics, and I thought, maybe I'm for diversity in comics. I thought it was actually really good.
To be fair, Miles Morales, who is the black Puerto Rican Spider-Man,
Yes.
he became Spider-Man way before, like 2 or 3 years. Like it was like 2011, I think. It was before all the SJW stuff came out.
Really? Oh, I didn't know.
Yeah. It wasn't in response to any. There's a comic. There's a panel of him actually saying, "I don't want to be Black Spider-Man." There's a comic panel of him watching like a YouTube video, and this girl saying, "Oh, it's so awesome that Spider-Man's black now." And he's like, I don't want to be Black Spider-Man. Like, why is that how I'm categorized? I'm just Spider-Man.
Yeah, exactly.
So the creator, I'm trying to remember who made the character. I can't think of it right now. He's like a very famous Spider-Man writer. So at least then, I don't know if he's changed, but at least then he seemed to be very not on board with the SJW stuff.
What if Jordan Peterson just doesn't know God exists?
Big Kev Sexy Man for $5. Oh, that's what you're saying. What if Jordan Peterson doesn't know if God exists?
Go on, keep going.
Maybe he's uncomfortable giving a definitive answer because he hasn't decided yet. I think that's a good point.
I think he's too uncomfortable to have not decided, to be honest with you. Every time they ask him that question, I mean, did you not see the discomfort on his face?
That's true. If he didn't know, would he just say that? Would he just say, I don't know?
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know the
Is I don't know a better answer? I don't know that it is.
I don't know. It's a possibility. I don't know whether he knows. Exploding printing at work for $2. Peterson is a child of Gerald. Praise Gerald. I'm assuming you're referring to Gerald from The Witcher, which I've never played. Oh, that's Geralt. So I don't know who Gerald is. Sorry. That's your bingo. Sitch and Adam don't know a super chat.
Comicscape for the win.
So I'm not prepared to.
Look at that. You see that?
I'm not prepared to say things.
That's a lie. He's a 55-year-old multi-millionaire who talks about religion all the time. He's a psychiatrist, whatever the hell he wants to call himself. That whole I'm not prepared to. You want to know what that is? Let's invent a new term. Let's call that the Ryan Gosling
He's putting on his
effect.
thinking cap.
Ryan Gosling was always the biggest heartthrob with chicks because he didn't say anything. Women have a fantastic ability. That's one reason why they're so easy to manipulate with music, like Coldplay. If you say no,
he's so full of tips. He's like, by the way, you can manipulate women with Coldplay. It's
true. Maybe he is a wizard. Maybe he's a woman wizard. That's the problem. It's just in this one area.
Nothing and just look sad and weird and like there's something hurting inside, they will put their thoughts into you. It's a female trait where it's like him doing that. People are like, he can't even talk about God because he loves him so much. Nope. He does this every time. He knows the truth. He knows what his truth is. And also he's using speech patterns that connotate like Puritans. He's like, this is true. Obama mastered it. He figured out how to talk like he's an Iowa farmer and black and Hawaiian simultaneously. Folks, I just don't, folks these days, but it's wizardry, guys. Words are so crazy powerful, you can't even imagine it. I'll play this again. But when Peterson says, clean your room, and sorry, I don't mean to laugh, because I know some of you guys worship this guy. It's like worshiping a squirrel. And I won't judge you for getting out of it. People write to me all the time. They're like, Big Bear, I was so mean to you when you first called out Peterson, and now I see him for what he is. I'm really sorry. Guys, I wrote him a birthday song.
He's leaving the door open for us. That's nice. I hear you snickering.
Someone in the chat said Gerald is a famous fence sitter.
Oh, yeah.
So,
why don't you just come out as right wing and just snap up a bunch of subs? I don't think it's not bad if you just tell people what you're doing, because then you're not deceiving them. You're like, listen, I'm really on the left, but in order to grow my channel, I'm going to say that I'm right wing. So now I'm right wing. It's almost,
as long as I say it, it's okay, right?
It's almost funnier when you do that.
It is.
Because I still think it works. There's that thing with Scott Adams. Scott Adams was like, yes, I'm endorsing Hillary Clinton because I need to save my life. People are... He's like, I don't like Hillary Clinton or anything, but I'm endorsing her.
Right. I just have to say it. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You just take the wind out of their sails.
Short Afro Man 4 for $5 says, I think people don't actually grasp the fact that his answer to the question is not a soundbite. How does a plane fly? Lift. Worthless answer.
Yeah, I don't know what that means.
Are you talking about this? I know what the super chat means. Is that weird?
Yeah. Explain it.
Yeah. I agree that it's not. I agree that if Jordan Peterson was to answer the question of whether he believes in God or not, it wouldn't be a soundbite. It would be a long answer. But I do think it is an answer he could give. It's not a 40-hour answer. He could tap it down to 1 hour if he had to.
Yeah, if need be.
I mean, so I think the punting, part of the reason punting is effective is because there's truth in it. So it's like, yeah, it's true. Answering the question of whether he believes in God isn't a one-word answer or isn't a soundbite, but that doesn't mean he still couldn't tackle the issue.
He wants both sides to believe what they want to believe.
Right. And as you've brought up the good point in the past, you're saying, this guy is a psychologist, like a clinical psychologist, and he's treated people for years. And he's probably treated a lot of people on the basis of possibly a higher power or, searching for something.
So if he
so then if he comes out and says, "Oh yeah, by the way, I don't believe in God."
Yeah. Fooled ya.
Yeah, it's kind of like alcohol, Alcoholics Anonymous.
Oh,
like,
totally. Guess
that
what?
whole thing is about, the whole thing's about believing in God. So it's like, okay, well, if someone went through that program and it worked for them, then the person who found it said, "Oh, just by the way, I'm just fucking with you. I don't actually believe in God." It seems like it could do some damage.
Yeah. How come
But
Big
maybe we're
Bear's not
just
talking about that
bending
stuff?
over backwards because we're Peterson fanboys. We're in the bubble, maybe.
I don't see how you could make that claim when we're being totally honest about what we feel he's doing.
Well, I think what separates us is because I don't see what the harm he's causing by not answering the question is.
Those people are going to die. Their eternal souls are going to burn in hell.
That's the only thing I could think of, and he doesn't say that. Like, if he said that, then if Owen said that was it, that was what he thinks the problem is, and we say, okay, well, at least we understand where he's coming from. I don't know. It doesn't make any sense.
I'm suspicious
Jimmy,
of Owen, whether or not Owen believes what he's saying.
You think Owen is all the
well, at
things
least on the
he's
moon,
fighting against?
the moon landing stuff, I think he might be.
Well, here's the problem. If you have someone say that he thinks it's okay to trick people into being Owen already said that he thinks it's okay to be deceptive as long as you're going to trick people into believing something that Owen thinks is righteous. So since he's already put that position out there, you could be right about the moon landing
Totally.
and stuff, because he's just admitted that morally he doesn't have a problem with being manipulative and lying.
He's going to get all those
good.
He's going to get all those moon landing deniers to be Christian. He's saving their eternal souls. It's actually it's for the better good. Yeah. Oh my God, this is devious.
I don't want to rag on him personally because I don't know him, and he said himself, he said that you can be moral and be an atheist. So he's not like one of those guys. But it is, I think, an incredibly dangerous game to play if you're basing your morality and your thought process on it's okay to be manipulative for the greater good.
Oh, yes.
Especially when your greater good is I have to save people's souls through Christianity, because then you're basically opening the door up for anything at that point.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Jimmy DeThing for $5, a definitive and finite answer on God from the religious or atheist side destroys all the utility and meaning of such concept. It collapses on itself.
He's making the argument that by Peterson not answering, he's effectively lying. And I guess that I disagree with that argument. Because you can always stand on like the fifth. Like, I take the fifth. I don't want to answer that.
Well, aren't we? But we're kind of we're doing the Scott Adams thing. We're looking past the sale. Because if you listen to Jordan Peterson, I don't think, when you say he's lying, Jordan Peterson isn't advocating for people to become Christians, I don't think.
No, not at all. Or atheists.
So he's not. So what is he lying about?
If anything, he's advocating more not to become atheists, because he's saying more about how atheism leads to nihilism.
But even, I mean, because it sounds like when he talks about Christianity, it's more like he's just saying, he's explaining why these stories stuck
Have
around for
lasted.
so long
Yeah.
and why they have social utility. He's not
Yes.
saying that these stories actually literally happened. And in fact, he said that men wrote the Bible. So
Yeah.
what is he lying about?
Wizard.
So I'm saying I don't see what the claim is, because he's not trying. If he was actively sitting out there in a pulpit, trying to get people to convert to Christianity, then okay, you can say that he's lying about something, but he's not doing that.
Yes. Yeah.
The Rooster for $4.99 says 40-hour Jordan Peterson answer to whether God exists or not. Sign me up, senpai. There you go. That should have been like his million sub live
Oh my
stream.
God, that would have been
40
awesome.
hours on whether God exists or not.
You get to the
Rufus Dark,
very
$5.
end of 40 hours, and you still don't know what he thinks.
Rufus Dark for $5. Adam, does Sitch know you beat your wife? You're not going to punt by not getting a direct answer, are you? Same with Jordan Peterson. It's a loaded question.
See, he knows what's up. Rufus knows what's up.
Well, wait a minute. I do like that Rufus gave us money, but I don't know if I agree with that, because I don't think that asking someone whether they believe in God or not is a loaded question the same way asking them if they beat their wife is.
It is when you're asking him in an interview from front of millions of people. Are you kidding me? It's totally a loaded question. Like if you asked him in private, you might be able to make that argument. Like, hey, dude, it's just me. I'm not going to say anything. Do you believe in God? He'd be like, hell no. Or he'd be like, of course I do. He'd be either way.
So here, you've changed my mind. Well, maybe you didn't change my mind. Maybe I changed my own mind. Maybe it is a loaded question because, as you were saying, it's in front of all these people, and that they're not going to take whatever the nuanced answer is. They're going to take the yes or no. Does he believe in God?
Right.
So maybe it is a loaded question. Maybe you did change my mind, Adam. Maybe it's possible.
You can't change minds. Don't try to refute my own claim by changing your own mind.
You just changed my mind, Adam.
That's cheating.
Live in front of all these people.
That's worse. That's worse than the bingo cheating. Unacceptable.
Like, I'm not judging you. Don't be a dick to people anymore, though, obviously. But so Peterson, when he goes, when you want to know what someone thinks about you, shut up. Listen. Don't say a word. They will reveal everything you need to know about them. Just be quiet and listen. And you want to know what that is? That's basic magic, guys. He's getting the crowd to shut up and listen to him. He invented a fake scenario. If you want to know what people think about you, you shut up. No, then they walk away and do other shit. That's retarded advice. He set up a situation.
Like, does he literally not understand what Jordan Peterson means when he says shut up and listen to someone if you want to understand them? Like,
yeah, it's pretty basic.
It's basic magic, as he said.
Situation where he could scream.
Owen is
up.
the king of doing this. Oh, we're going to play that game, are we?
Pause war.
Owen is the king of doing this, though, because Owen is like broadcasting his feelings.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know the game that Owen is playing, because we don't know his situation.
That's the game he's playing.
Obviously Owen wants attention. It's an attention economy. We want attention. It's not. I don't see it as a bad thing, but I guess what makes it bad is like if you decide I'm a right winger to grow my sub count.
Well, I think that's where you and I disagree, is that you're more inclined to see people acting in a dishonest, manipulative way, and I'm more inclined to think people trick themselves into believing something so they don't have to act in a manipulative way.
That's so funny.
Well, actually, no, let me rephrase that. They do act manipulatively. They trick themselves so they don't think they're acting dishonestly.
Right. They say this would be a lie, but I'm going to believe it, so it's not a lie.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
no, I don't disagree with you.
Well, I don't know. It seems like you think more people are like consciously making this effort to seek out, drama or to seek out manipulation. I don't think it's a conscious part on their. I don't think it's a conscious effort on their part.
But look at Alex Jones though.
Well, okay, yeah, Alex Jones definitely is going out there to he's obviously doing this on purpose.
Yeah, he listed himself as a performance artist on his divorce papers, so he knows what's up.
Yeah.
I don't think
I'm not saying
Peterson sees himself. I don't think Peterson
people.
sees himself as a performance artist.
No.
That performance artist thing is a good cover, though.
Mm-hmm. Well, Glenn Beck said the same thing too.
I might have to use that.
I'm not lying. I'm just a performance artist.
Shut up. Like scream it. And the audience doesn't know that he's talking to them, and then they follow orders. They don't say a word. They listen to every word he says. And he still has the moral high ground because he framed it in a way where he was helping people. If you want to know what your family really thinks of you, you shut up and you give them money. We react to words. Like the word free makes you buy shit. Even if you think that free, that's why I don't say things are free. Like if I say things.
Do you buy into all this neuro-linguistic stuff? Like this
Yes.
idea that, certain words mean certain things, and if you phrase things in a specific way, like the most popular one is if your brain doesn't react to negatives for some reason. So it's like if you say don't do drugs, your brain kind of warps that into do drugs.
Yeah.
Like do you buy into any of that stuff?
I do, yeah.
You do? Okay.
I do, yeah. I think neurolinguistics is. I think that's how you really screw with people. There's a book, Influence, and he goes into a lot of the studies that kind of prove that stuff, and it's really scary how much influence it does have over you. Yeah, yes, I do believe.
Maybe I should look at because
powerful.
I'm on the fence about it.
Yeah. I think that the fact that they're calling the grievance study hoax a hoax, I think is bad.
Oh, I see. Because it makes it sound like they're the hoax.
Hoax embodies deception, yeah. And there was a deceptive element, but I mean, like you don't call a police sting a hoax. It's called an investigation for a reason, right?
That's a good point.
You don't.
That's a good point.
It's an investigation. It really is. Like they could call it an investigation. They could call it an audit. They could call it a lot of different things that are really closer to what it is. But the fact that they're calling it a hoax means they've already lost. I really think they've already lost.
Well, I guess I agree with the idea that certain words have certain effects on people. I just the part about the neurolinguistics that always stuck with me is the whole your brain doesn't process negatives thing. It just doesn't make any sense to me.
This is the don't think of an elephant argument, right?
I get it, but it's not really the argument because I understand that. That makes perfect sense.
Mm-hmm.
It's this idea that if you phrase things with negatives, your brain doesn't concentrate on the negative. It just kind of like wipes that away.
Right. It concentrates on the positive.
Right. Which I don't know if I agree with that.
Like when I say I never beat my wife, you think, oh, all you hear is the beat. What? Beats
right.
wife.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it is true. I don't know.
I try to avoid negatives all the time. I do.
Right.
Because of that.
No, so do I, but I don't know if I'm doing it for a good reason or not.
Framing things positively, I think, is always a better way to go.
And we've talked about this in politics too, it seems like the candidates that run against people never win. It's the candidates that run for something that do win.
Yes.
So maybe there's something to it. Maybe I've changed my mind yet again.
No way,
you're
just messing with us now.
Or am I just using wizardry?
You can change your mind. Nah, you can't.
Things are free, they're really free. I'm so fucking good at magic that like I have to consciously be like, don't do wizardry ever.
You hear that? He's so good at it that he has to tell himself not to use his powers against the poor masses.
Don't do it. Don't do wizardry. Because it makes me sick, to be honest with you. You can make so much money. Jordan Peterson is making so much money, it's mind-blowing. He makes more money than most celebrities, like most people you know. And when him and Buttboy Dave Rubin sell their new Patreon alternative, they may become billionaires, guys. It works so well, and you don't even know it works. And those are the...
I do agree. I do agree that if Jordan Peterson came out as atheist, it would hurt him. I don't think it would hurt him that much, though, financially.
Really?
Because I don't think he really has that many like diehard Christians who like him because they view him as like this strong Christian influence.
Why would you gamble just to make Owen Benjamin happy?
No. I'm not saying that
Like
you should
just
do
to
it. I'm
make
just
Vox
saying,
Day happy. Jeez.
I'm not saying. I'm just saying if he did do it, I think he would not lose that many people. I think he'd lose 5% of his audience maximum.
Really? You don't know that though.
Yeah.
You don't know the numbers.
No, I'm just pulling a number out of my butt.
Like he's probably like we don't know if half of his book sales are like Christian bookstores. He's like, oh, 3/4 of my books.
Oh, maybe you're right. Maybe
Like-
you're right.
He's got way more information than we have.
That's true. Though he was not. I'm assuming. I don't think he was answering this question straight up before the book, came out too. So
He's never answered the question straight,
right.
which I love. I honestly just dig it. I did a video. Did you see the video that I did?
Which one?
It was all of the times that Jordan Peterson punted on the do you believe in God question, all sandwiched together in one video. It's like 40 minutes long. Oh, it's so
Amazing.
good. It's like as I was putting it together, I was like, this is gonna trigger people. This might put people in the hospital. This video is gonna trigger people so bad. Oh, I love
That's
it.
really funny.
It's like a horror movie for people.
Right.
Why won't he answer the question?
Like I think you could make. I'm surprised no one's done this. You could make a good argument against Jordan Peterson in that if he believes that truth, that metaphorical truth, in the idea that things that keep you alive are more important than objective truth, you could make the argument then that would be justification for him. He could use that as justification for himself to be deceptive about anything.
He's not being deceptive.
No, I
He's
don't
not-
think he
he's
is, but I'm
not
saying you
lying.
could make that argument. Owen
He's-
Benjamin could make that argument.
He's not telling the truth, but at least he's not lying. I'm telling you, when he wrote that, he's like, tell the truth, period. And then he thought about it for about 5 minutes and he's like, I better fix this. Or at least don't lie. There we go.
There we go.
The best spells. That's why I admit I may be under a spell with flat earth. Like a real high level of thought is to know you're susceptible to spells and try and look at like where you have weaknesses and just your limitations. When you say like buy one get one free, if you do this now, a free this, and you're like, oh, I don't fall for that. If I hear free, study after study after study, that is not true. You can have the same products, same price. You just put the word free in there somewhere. It's like 8 times the sales. You don't even know it. You're unaware of it. And you don't even think you'll fall for it. There's a whole science behind this. It's called marketing. That's why this is magic.
So this is a really bad video structurally because he hasn't explained what Jordan Peterson is lying about, and he hasn't explained what the actual harm that he's causing is.
Yes. Yeah, I don't think he ever really gets to that either.
So
The point that I wanted to make was I feel that Peterson is working on political polarization, and the only way that he can achieve that goal is if he has the ear of both camps. If both camps respect him, then he's the perfect moderator between the two
I
camps.
don't really think he has the ear of the Democrats, though, or the left as a whole.
I'm just talking on the same thing that Owen Benjamin's talking on, the Christianity question.
Oh, okay.
The
I see.
Christian camp and the atheist camp.
Right. Okay, that makes
Yeah.
more sense.
This is evil shit, man. You can blame it on like, oh, we want eyeballs on the screen. That's why I don't want eyeball. Like, I want good people. Like, I framed my life to truth because I'm dead if I don't. I'm too fucking good at magic. I could have 8 wives and gold and just hurt people. I'm so good at words. Not saying that as a brag. Do not put me in that like boastful category. I'm saying that because this is a struggle.
That sounds kind of like a Trumpism, doesn't it? I'm so good at words.
I know it does. And just, I mean, Peterson's out wizarding you, bud. Look at that Patreon. Like, you're already talking
true.
about it being a billionaire.
Well, that's what he's saying. He's saying, well, I could do what Jordan Peterson is doing, but I'm moral, so I'm not going to. And it's, it's like when I'm saying like, well, I could get, a lot more people if we, said that we're suddenly right wing.
Yeah. Right wing's underserved.
Yeah, on YouTube. Well, it's just as you're saying, people want you to choose a side. Most people.
Yeah, I don't know.
My buddy's dead.
I don't know that. Like, I've thought in terms of, like, I was stoked when Jordan Peterson came along because I had been talking about height for so long, and I thought, wow, this is like height but popular. Seriously, it's funny because a lot of the ideas overlap, but height doesn't get any buy-in. He doesn't get buy-in the same way Peterson does, which I think
because Peterson is marshaling a social force for battle.
Yeah, this was the strategy I was telling you. I'm like,
right, but that's why I don't view him as being against polarization, because he's literally marshaling a force to fight a war, where height isn't doing that.
Yeah, but this is my thing. Like, if you're going to fight any war, you need a force.
Sure.
And even if the force is political polarization, even if the war is against political polarization. Like, imagine marshaling the force and then saying, we have to love the enemy. We have to end this.
Yeah,
right?
But he's not doing that.
Not yet.
I don't
there's still
see
problems. Academia is screwed.
If you say he's fighting against the polarization between Christians and atheists, I'll agree with you. But I don't think he's fighting the political polarization of either America or Canada in terms of a left-right divide at all. And I don't see any evidence for that. Because, I agree that he doesn't talk about a lot of political issues except for SJW stuff.
What was the monk debate? And what is like he's often said that the reason his book is an antidote to chaos is because he feels like we're leaning towards the chaos side. And if we were drifting towards the totalitarian side, it might be an antidote to order.
Oh yeah, I agree that he's very center.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying that he is polarized. He's marshaling a force to fight the SJW side. And to me, that's the opposite of being against political polarization.
People have asked him. I did in one of my best of videos, somebody asked him about political polarization and says, you say that you're against political polarization, but aren't you the most polarizing figure there is? And he says that he's aware of that and that he battles with that and that he thinks right now he's more of a force for good in that department than not. My whole thing is,
wait, doesn't that support what I'm saying?
You can't persuade people if you're not a megastar. Like,
yeah, I don't disagree with it. I agree with that.
You can't be a megastar unless you yourself have said it in the stream many times. You can't be a megastar if you're a fence sitter.
Right.
Height is never going to be.
I didn't say. I don't believe I said that.
Height is never going to be a megastar because he's a fence sitter.
I agree with what you're saying.
Who's going to have more influence over people?
But doesn't that just support what I'm saying? You can't say that he's against. He's not marshaling a force to fight political polarization. He's marshaling a force to fight what he believes are the SJWs and the neo-Marxists.
Their pathology of political polarization. I'm telling you. The SJWs are the king of political polarization.
Change your mind because you were saying that no one can change your mind.
Did I change my mind? What are you talking about?
To change your mind in this conversation, because then if you did, you would be admitting that you could change your mind.
My mind is made up on this, okay? The door is closed.
Okay. Okay.
We're just putting. I mean, we'll
let chat decide.
This is a
who's
good
right,
debate.
who's wrong.
This is a good debate, man. Seriously.
Jimmy DeThin for $5. Owen is the male version of daddy issues. He's trying to place an imperfect father with a perfect one. Jordan Peterson wasn't perfect. He goes back to Sky Daddy.
Oh man.
Ouch.
Good, but poetry, pure poetry,
maybe.
though.
Could be. Pragmatic culture for $10. Psychology is a kind of wizardry as it works on your psyche, which is more supernatural than people like to admit. Credit to Jordan Peterson for acknowledging this early in Maps the Meaning after discussing alchemy.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think I would agree with that. Yeah. Dead meme for 100 rubs. I don't know what that is. That rubles?
Maybe.
Or does it mean he's going to touch you 100 times? Owen is wizarding as hard as he can and then says Jordan is being a Gandalf. It's hilarious how hypocritical he is. Exactly.
Yeah, that's why it's interesting. Can we save Owen Benjamin though?
I mean, I don't know anything about him, so I don't
What would a savings? Well, everyone's just maybe he's just going for the Alex Jones crowd.
I mean, he said we didn't land on the moon, so
I don't think you're doing a lot for Christianity if you're out there telling people that the moon landing didn't happen, to be honest.
That's a good point.
I mean, I don't think it's a fair representation to make Christians seem like wackos. My whole part of my entire presence on YouTube is trying to let people know that like a lot of the straw manning I feel the anti-theists do is making Christians out to be irrational people. And sure, there are plenty of irrational people, but I don't think Christians corner the market on that.
So Owen Benjamin is doing their job for them, is what you're saying.
Oh, man.
He can be the example they point to and say, look, this is the crazy Christian guy.
They will be. I guess you're making predictions. That's going to happen.
I mean, I don't know how big is he. His channel, he's got like 200,000 subs, so I'm assuming he's like a big time guy.
Yeah, he's big.
Bigger time guy. Yeah. He was on Joe Rogan.
We haven't been on Joe Rogan. Hey, we forgot to mention Brett Weinstein followed you on Twitter. We're almost in the intellectual dark web.
That's right. Brett and Heather both follow me and you, so
yeah.
We're both one step closer to the intellectual dark web.
We're going to be there. Guess what? As soon as we sit, the first thing I'm going to ask Peterson is, do you think Owen Benjamin is crazy?
No, you're going to ask him. No, so seriously, do you believe in God? You're going to say, so you're really atheist, right? Like, I'm not going to tell anyone, but like, yeah, come on, wink.
Oh man, I wouldn't even bring it up. We would be kicked out of the intellectual dark web so fast if we asked that question.
Ethan Long for $5. You give one bad take on the Kavanaugh situation, and suddenly you're an evil wizard.
Yeah.
We're not going to have that conversation again. We already had that conversation last stream.
And neither of us changed our minds.
Pragmatic Culture for $2 says, read Bronze Age Mindset. Do you know what that is? You're the book guy.
I'm the Bronze Age Mindset.
I mean, you're the guy that knows what books are.
Pragmatic Culture wants to go back to a monarchy. I don't know if we should be counseling people.
Is this true, Pragmatic Culture? You want to go back to a monarchy?
I don't know if you should be counseling people on their particular material of construction mindset.
I'm trying to look up what
Dustin
this book is
about. Marine. He realized he was so good at killing people that being back here was hard as fuck. He had killed so many people as a sniper, and with cold blood. It got to the point where he once just blew a guy's head off because he was like raping a kid or a goat or something. He's one of the guys that was part of the peeing on the Taliban thing. Like one of their boys got blown up in front of him, and it took like 10 minutes to die and shit, and they all went crazy and went like AWOL. And he said that they started shooting anything that looked like Muslim-ish. And I've had a couple letters from military being like, don't say that, it tarnishes the military. I'm like, dude, I'm a giant supporter of the military. It tarnishes my friend's name if I don't speak his stories, which I know are true. I mean, one time one of our buddies shot himself, and Justin's first reaction was, what kind of gun did he use? Like, he's a killer. And being in the normal world was hard on him. And it's like that sometimes with wizard shit. It's like, I can say words that'll make people do anything. And that's why I do Over the Pants Hand Job in a Walgreens song, and I make the crowd do that, because I'm trying to do it in a good way, to be like, look how people can do what you tell them, and they don't even realize they're under a spell, and then maybe they can help themselves, you know? I truly believe that. It's weird, though, but watch Peterson. This guy is so evil, guys. You don't have to trust me. Don't trust me. Look for yourself. Do you think he's never been asked, does he believe in God? Any believer right now watching this who likes Peterson is like, what in the fuck? Same thing happened to me. I thought he was a Christian. This is unbelievable.
Okay. I gotta read you the blurb for this book, Bronze Age Mindset. Okay.
Okay.
Some say that this book was found in a safe box in the port area of Kowloon and was dictated because the author, who's named Bronze Age Pervert, refuses to learn what he calls the low and plebeian art of writing. It is known how this book was. It isn't known how this book was transcribed. The contents are pure dynamite. He explains that you live in an ant farm, that you are observed by the Lord of Lies, ritually probed. Ancient man had something you have lost: confidence in his instincts and strength, knowledge in his blood. Bronze Age Pervert shows how the Bronze Age mindset can set you free from this iron prison and help you embark on the path of power. He talks about life, biology, hormones. He gives many examples from history, both ancient and modern. He shows you the secrets of the detrimental robots and how they hide and fabricate. He helps you escape the gynocentricity and ascend to the fresh mountain air. The pricing he insisted on against all advice. He refers to the lucky 90. I don't know what that is about. But anyway, praise be to the pervert. Praise be to his teachings of peace. Be careful.
What is that? That's on Amazon?
This was the first review that came up on Amazon, like in the first
Really?
page.
Oh, that's a review. Oh, I thought that you were reading like the book description. I was like, geez, Louise.
Well, I thought it might actually be the word. I don't know if it's a review. It's like when you go on Amazon, the first thing that comes up is this.
Oh, wow.
So I don't know.
How
It doesn't
many
say a
book
person
reviews
wrote
does it
this.
have? That's a self-published book all the way. That's not like Penguin Random House.
No, definitely not.
Bronze Age Pervert.
And I believe he answered your question in chat. He said a kind of monarchy.
There you go. Monarchy.
Kind of monarchy. Bayjax for $5 says, if Jordan Peterson is marshaling a force, that force is going to be just as dead set against the likes of the alt-right. Love your videos, especially the one about Breitbart. Thank you very much, and I agree 100%. I believe maybe this is the way you should frame it. The force he's marshaling isn't one against political polarization. It's one against identity politics.
Yes.
Wouldn't that make that'd be more?
It's also
apt,
against
right?
nihilism.
What did you say? It was against nihilism?
It's against nihilism. His whole message is about meaning in life.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that either. Butthole Surfer for $5. My progressive friend hates Jordan Peterson and thinks psychology is BS because the writers of Star Trek couldn't predict what it would look like in the future.
What?
You have a very strange friend. I'm not sure how the writers of Star Trek not being able to predict the future, which hasn't happened yet because I don't think we've reached Star Trek times, has to do with psychology. So.
Well, they do get cell phones right. I mean, they do have the communicators.
That is true. They did get cell phones right.
Nuance
Caffeinated
says,
Fiend.
Oh.
For 2 Canadians. Bronze Age Pervert. I didn't know Adam wrote a book.
Oh my God. I hate you.
Is that gonna be the next straw we're
Nuance
gonna
Bro
see?
makes a very, very prescient point. Seems pretty obvious to me that Peterson doesn't believe in a giant personal sky god. So what? Yeah, that's exactly. I think Peterson believes in the concept of God, which I think is his whole point is that it's very useful.
What do you mean by that? The concept of God?
Like his whole message is that I act as though God exists. So God as a concept is something he believes in, that he thinks
You mean he
is useful.
believes in it in terms of it being helpful for society
Yeah, exactly.
and people? Okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
granting meaning, fighting against nihilism, keeping shitheads in line.
And that would perfectly coincide with what he was saying about truth.
Yes, yeah, definitely.
You may be onto something.
Believable behavior if you believe in God. Like the first thing he'd say is be like, of course, I saw the face of my child. No, he's like, I cannot answer that.
That's such a weird answer. I believe in God because I saw the face of my child.
He's fully. I mean, this is like LSD induced. I'm just gonna call it here. This is like, where are you keeping the microdots, Owen? Come on, share with us.
That because he serves another master. Materialism.
Is it Satan? That
Materialism
reference
Yeah,
is too old for anyone in the chat to get.
I know. I got it. It's Saturday Night Live, right?
Yeah, the what was the guy's name?
The
actor?
church lady.
Well, your mic got cut out.
The church lady is the
Yes.
character, but I can't remember the actor. He's one of the Wayne's World guys. Dana Carvey.
Yes.
There we go.
Dana Carvey. There you go. Yeah.
He played George Bush as well.
That's right. Chris Hanna for 25 whopping dollars. And thanks for covering Owen. I brought him up on that other stream. Well, you're welcome.
Yeah, thanks. We've been meaning to cover him for a long time. Someday we're gonna cover Don Hoffman and Deepak. I may have to do a lot of begging because Sitch thinks that it's boring, but
I don't think it's boring. I think what Hoffman is saying is super interesting.
yes,
Is
he's
Donald
super.
Hoffman, right?
See the excitement in his voice when he says super. Say super one more time.
Super. It's super interesting.
interesting.
And I would recommend that everyone go listen to Donald Hoffman. I'd recommend everyone go listen to that Donald Hoffman Deepak Chopra video. I don't think it's interesting because we're just going to be listening to it and saying, "Oh yeah, that's really interesting." Yeah, that's really interesting.
Yeah.
You know, like what are we going to comment on?
How we live in a simulation and how fucked up it is. Seriously.
He's not talking about the kind of simulation that Scott Adams is talking about. Okay.
He is.
No, he's
Don
not.
Don Hoffman is probing the edges of the simulation. Oh, it's going to be so messed up. It's going to be so messed up, man.
Simulation theory is stupid, Adam.
They're going to prove the
Stupid.
simulation and people are going to freak.
How could they literally wait a minute. If we were living in a simulation.
If we were, what are you
Wait a minute.
saying? You don't
If we
believe
were
in the
living in a
simulation?
simulation, the only way we could find out if it was a simulation is if the simulation was designed to study what happened when people found out they lived in a simulation. Otherwise, we'd be programmed to not be able to figure that out because it would destroy the point of the simulation.
I'm going to have to think on this one. I don't want.
I know I said the word simulation a lot, but I was trying to make it as not confusing as possible.
I don't want to change my mind, but I don't think my mind is made up on this one.
He doesn't call it Satan, probably. It's Satan. You have to understand all of it to know what you serve. He serves his suits, his attention, besting his enemies, having people think he's great when he's not. He likes his lies. He likes his secrets. He's probably a sex addict on some level. Not starting that rumor, have no proof at all, but matches all the shit. All right, so watch.
That's like the classic, I'm not saying it, but I'm saying it.
I know, it's so great. He's like, my attorney told me to say this. Not going to lie, I believe it, but.
Him again.
2 hours long.
This is true, but when you're talking about the most important questions that people have ever asked, then 2 hours isn't very long. Apparently, people will watch them. So I'm not prepared to.
See, he actually stumbles there. Did you notice that?
Peterson?
Yeah, Peterson realized he talked himself into a corner. He did.
I didn't get that impression.
He said 2 hours. He said 2 hours is not very long, but he's like, oh shit, I do 2 hours every single night.
He's acting like a molested kid trying to say the truth.
I'm not prepared to say things in any other way than I've already said them.
You are a despicable man, Jordan Peterson.
It isn't obvious what belief means. People think
yes, it is. Do you believe that water is wet? Do you believe the sun will rise the next day?
See, and he's all the things that Owen picks are things that are really inconsequential. Like nobody cares whether or not Jordan Peterson believes water is wet. Like if Jordan Peterson didn't believe water was wet, people would think it was weird.
Wait a minute. You think water is wet?
Yeah, see, there's no.
No, I'm serious. I don't think water is wet.
Yeah, right. Come on.
No, wait.
Weirdo.
You didn't see that? What's that guy's name that does those good videos?
Oh, the guy that does the good videos. You mean Adam?
The other guy. I say counterpoints.
The water's not wet. ContraPoints? Are you pitching ContraPoints videos now? No. You heard it here first.
I'm having a total mental blank on this guy's channel.
Well,
Counter arguments.
Oh yeah,
counter arguments.
Yes.
He had a whole video about why water isn't wet.
Really? I didn't see it.
Because he was saying, and I agree with it. He was saying, wetness. Something becomes wet because it is saturated with water or another liquid. But water itself isn't wet. Water is what makes something wet.
Interesting. Him and Jordan Peterson should do a live stream on this. You understand the point that I'm making? That
right? Yeah, I understand the point.
Belief is an extremely easy word to understand and define. I feel really good that I'm showing people this right now. I really think I'm freeing a lot of people right now, because that spell is powerful as shit. And look how pathetic he looks, right? When you find out how the magician does it, it ruins it, and you almost get mad. Where you're like, that was it?
Believe is what they say they believe. I don't believe that. I believe that what people believe is what they act out. And so I said, I act as if God exists. That's a sufficient.
You hear him yelling in the background?
That's not true.
This is so good. This is so good.
Statement as far as I'm concerned. You know, what's the old saying? By their fruits ye shall.
Well, I mean, that could be a good point. Maybe it isn't a point. Maybe it is. If we're going to put on the total fanboy hat right now, if Jordan Peterson really does believe that what you believe is not what you say, but how you act, and he acts like God exists, even if he doesn't believe God exists, how does he explain that?
Yeah, you're in a position that's completely unacceptable. This is why.
Does it matter?
What do you mean?
If you say, well, I don't believe in God, but you act like God exists, well, then does it matter whether you believe in God or not?
Well, that is his whole point.
Right.
They just want him to say the magic words. He's there. He's like, you're a wizard. Say the magic words.
Well, I don't know if he comes back to it, but he said earlier, he was making it sound like people that don't believe in Jesus can't literally say the words that they do believe in Jesus. Like it has power and magic.
He said that before, that you're not even supposed to say the name of God.
Yeah.
That's one of his runarounds. Consciously, he knows what he's doing, though, correct? He knows that he can't take a side and this is a political strategy. I think that's what Owen is most upset about.
Mm-hmm.
But my whole thing is, I'm using actually Owen's argument. Owen is saying that Owen has said that deceiving people is okay as long as you're doing it for the greater good. There's a conflict over what he thinks is the greater good. I guess I'm taking the other side of the argument that what Peterson is doing is the greater good, even though you disagree that he even cares about political polarization or
that's not
religious
I think he cares
polarization.
about it. I just don't think that's what I don't think that's what he's doing.
Right. You think he's in it for the money? He's just trying to get a TV show.
I never said no. I never
well,
said
what do you
that.
think?
I said that his main concerns are fighting is one is self-help and two fighting against the SJW postmodernism neo-Marxist stuff.
Right, because it breeds resentment. The whole SJW ideology breeds resentment, which is unhelpful for self-help.
Right, and he looks at it, he's a guy who's been studying communism and fascism his whole life, and he sees SJW stuff as like the breeding ground for communism, and that's why it triggers him so much.
Yeah, he doesn't.
So that's where I see he's coming from. He's not motivated by fighting polarization. He's motivated by fighting the spread of the seeds of communism.
I actually think that you could make an argument that resentment is the most powerful emotion. That resentment is the most resentment drives everything. Resentment drives conflict in society. Like your ultimate goal in society is to reduce resentment. What do you think
agree
on that?
with you. I wouldn't say it's the most powerful, but I think it's up there. It's in the top 3.
So the whole idea behind the grievance studies is to like sell resentment to people. It really is.
Right. It's weaponized victimization.
Yeah, it's dangerous. It's dangerous stuff.
Of course, yeah, exactly.
Don't you think Christianity is a force for reducing resentment? I don't know about Judaism. Is Judaism reduce resentment?
It's a good question.
I know that like all of the memes in Christianity are like fight resentment. Resentment destroys lives.
Is it really?
Envy is a sin. It's resentment.
That's a good point.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying, I even think Owen Benjamin here is like the poster boy for resentment. I think this whole stream is him full of resentment.
Right. I mean, we are doing a bit of mind reading when we say that.
Yeah, but we're wizards.
Well, and it's also not our fault because he hasn't explained what the fuck his motivation or problem is with any of this.
Yeah. We would love to talk to Owen. So if Owen wants to talk to us, we're totally game.
You got a bunch of super chats. I'm going to read the last one. I'm going to read the next one last because it actually requires time. Noel Campbell for $2 says, comedians go off the grid or insane or are convicted. It does seem like when comedians like kind of fall out of it, they do fall out of it very, very hard. So.
Oh, man.
That is true. It's Daniel Irish for $5. One single molecule of water isn't wet. Multiple molecules of water are wet. I don't agree. I don't agree with that whatsoever.
But you've seen the video. We haven't seen the videos.
I don't agree with that. No. Multiple molecules of water on something make something else wet. Okay.
It's all an illusion, though. We live in a simulation. You got to understand that.
Like, okay, think of it this way. You can say fire is hot because fire produces heat, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Maybe does water? Would you categorize water as producing wetness? It doesn't produce wetness. It makes something wet.
I don't know.
It seems like a very the whole argument's like a nonsensical word argument, like word games. It's not like a real argument.
You know that scene in The Matrix where Neo is fighting Morpheus in the dojo?
Mm-hmm.
And Neo's totally panting because he's all winded. And
Right.
Morpheus asks him, do you think that's air you're breathing now? That's how I look at the world.
I don't disagree with that. I agree with that.
There is no wet. We live in a simulation.
Yeah, okay. Critters bugging for 7 Canadians. Water makes things wet, you pleb. Adding water to water doesn't make it more wet. But when you put your hand in water, your hand becomes wet. See, that's exactly what I'm saying. Water itself is not wet. Water makes things wet.
Yes.
Critter Buggins, again, really into the water wet argument for another 7 Canadians. The only way to make water wet is to change the definition of wet. like an SJW. Come on, Adam. You aren't an SJW now, are you? Changing definitions?
Maybe a little bit. I mean, I am for representation, and I did like Into the Spider-Verse, so maybe I'm changing my mind. We may never know.
Into the Spider-Verse changed your mind.
Oh, it was so good, man. That movie was so good.
Well, you know who one of the writers was Phil Lord, who,
I don't know who that
is the
is.
guy who did Clone High and the Lego Movie and 21 Jump
okay.
Street
Oh, okay,
and
yeah.
all those really funny, awesome things.
Lego Movie was fantastic.
Yeah. Ethan Long for $5 says it's difficult to resent the people who have wronged you if you forgive them. That's a good point.
Yeah, forgiveness. This is what I talk about. Yeah.
So
pro-social.
maybe you're right.
I'm telling you.
Daniel Irish for $5. Multiple molecules of water on a molecule of water makes the molecule of water wet. Checkmate, nerd.
It's true.
There you go.
That's what I was thinking. I was like, how can
Water's
that? Are you saying that? Oh, come on. If you take a glass of water and you dump it into the water, it's going to make the water wet.
No, it's not. It's not. That's what Critters was saying. It doesn't. If you add water to water, it doesn't make it more wet.
You're saying the glass is wet, but the water isn't.
But wait a minute. Here's the answer. Okay, if you add water to water, it doesn't make it wetter. But if you add more fire, if you add fire to another fire, it does make that fire hotter.
Depends.
No, if you take two fires and you combine them, they become hotter.
Yeah, I guess maybe.
So there you go. We've solved it. We've solved the answer on the stream. Thank you very much, everyone.
Bayjax,
we're gonna end the stream now.
Super chat. No.
It's all over.
Bayjax for $2. We got to be careful not to get the simulation wet.
It's true.
I totally agree. It could be
a
quantum computer though, which is
there you go.
It's dangerous to get that wet as well.
See,
so.
That's the real reason nothing is wet, because you can't get water in the simulation because it'll short circuit.
Exactly. But the good news, there is a God. It's the guy that created the simulation, right?
Well, yeah. If we were living in a simulation and it was created by people, you wouldn't call those people God.
Why not? They're the creator.
Yeah, but that's kind of like an old-fashioned view of God. Like the more modern view of God is like something that created like reality itself.
It's really gonna suck if we find out we're living in a simulation and that simulation was created by another simulation. How lame
There's
is
literally
that
no
gonna
way
be?
to prove that.
I know.
Bayjax for another $2. So then could you set fire on fire? No, you can't. But we're talking about heat. We're not talking about fire.
All right, let's go back to Owen's craziness.
Oh, I got to go back to Ethan Longs for $5 said, I didn't see the live stream about you guys' thoughts on Jordan Peterson's Kavanaugh comment. It's Kavanaugh with a K, by the way, just so you know. Can you give a brief summary? My brief summary.
We've only talked about it in like 10 streams and we always end up
whatever.
About
Here's the brief summary. Jordan Peterson's comment that everyone was ragging on was him answering a very specific question that Brett Weinstein had proposed. And everyone took it out of context and assumed Jordan Peterson was saying it's what he thought Kavanaugh should have actually done. Is that a good brief summary?
Yeah, basically Sitch is carrying water for Peterson, and I totally throw him under the bus. I say he should.
There you go.
He should have never. I think he should have came out and said what he said was wrong, but he never does. I think what he said was wrong. I think he's totally empowering the mob and. See that side? See that side?
We already had this conversation.
People don't change their minds, I'm telling you.
Same idea, right? It's a matter of action and a matter of commitment. It's not a matter of me parading out my explicit statements about a metaphysical reality that's virtually impossible to comprehend.
No, it's possible to comprehend. But let me break that down for you. He said it doesn't matter what you believe, it matters how you act. That what he just did is try to make being a sociopathic, psychopathic, lying, constant liar virtuous.
Oh, so good.
He's not okay. There's a big problem with that. He's not saying it doesn't matter what you believe. He's saying you can tell yourself all day you believe X, Y, Z, and as long as you don't act that way, then you're lying to yourself.
Correct. Yeah. Big point.
So that's not at all. So I guess Owen doesn't get that.
Yeah.
what he's
Owen is
saying
probably lying to himself about all the moon landing stuff. Seriously, do you think he honestly believes that?
Sure, I think he honestly believes. Why would you lie about that? It's such a weird thing to lie about. Just to try to get Alex Jones people, like
you can convince yourself of anything. You really can.
right.
Like, why wouldn't
Okay.
you convince yourself of the stuff that's going to be beneficial to you?
Because people aren't thinking about it in that kind of cold, pragmatic way.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, let's say you don't love your wife. You hate your wife, but you act like you love your wife for 50 years. Does that mean you love your wife? No, it means you're a tragic, hollow, empty shell.
Does anyone see? This is my problem with that kind of hypothetical situation. Like, does that exist? I feel like that doesn't exist.
Yeah, and we've had this conversation before because I would say that if you sooner or later you're going to believe yourself. If you act like you love your wife, sooner or later you're going to love your wife. Like, you can't. It's too difficult to sustain that kind of cognitive dissonance.
Yeah, like people don't have that Herculean like level of willpower.
Yeah,
Like that's my whole point as to why people have to convince themselves of the lies, because they don't have the willpower to just be living this lie their whole life.
in conflict. Yeah,
Right.
They don't want to be self-contradictory. It's too, yeah. They talk about this in that book, Influence. The way that during the Korean War, the way that they got soldiers to convert is they would make them journal, and they had like little essay contests and stuff like that, and they would get them to say little things just fictionally, like basically they didn't really believe it, but over time they would come to believe it, and they actually got people to turn on the United States that way. I don't understand what you're trying to get. The Koreans are trying to get Americans to convert to the communist side. Yes, they would make them write pro-communist essays. And
You mean once they captured them?
Yes, they were in concentration camps. Exactly. Yes.
And you're talking about Korea, not Vietnam.
Korea. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, Korea. It's in the book Influence. I can't remember the author's name. Cellini, Robert B. Cellini. Scott Adams was the guy that turned me on to that book. But yeah, they do it with. This is marketing. I mean, Owen is actually right on the marketing stuff. This is why they do those product contests. They don't do them anymore, but they used to do them all the time for, write an essay about why you like certain cereal or some product or whatever. They would have an essay contest, right?
They have. I don't know if you saw it. Like, it's so silly. Before the movies and before when I saw Spider-Man, they have like the winner of this student film, and it's like there are always these terrible student films that are just like an advertisement for Coke.
Really?
Yeah, it's just the big student film contest is just who can make the best advertisement for Coke before a movie theater.
You should read that book, Influence. It's astonishing. It's astonishing, like how much we just don't want to be in conflict. So acting out, Jordan. This is where I completely buy into what Jordan Peterson is talking about.
There was a Scott Adams Dilbert strip that was exactly that, where it was like Dilbert was in some terrible situation, and then he's like, wait a minute, my cognitive dissonance is kicking in. If I was in a bad situation, and that I could leave of my own will, I would. Therefore, I must really love my situation. Oh, I love this so much.
Scott Adams knows that stuff inside and out. He's always saying that if you want to learn more about anything, you should learn more about psychology. This is what's terrifying about the psychology departments drifting into non-evidentiary stuff.
Yep.
It's like, if we can't trust this stuff, oh man.
Yeah, if you guys didn't see the APA, that is the psychology one, not the psychiatry one, released some guidelines about dealing with toxic masculinity when psychologists are talking to male patients.
Yeah.
So that's going to be probably I'm working on a video right now. It should be out this week. And then after that, I'm probably going to do one on the APA guidelines.
Yeah, it's scary stuff. It's super scary.
Tewelde Ambassador, I'm sorry if I butchered your name, with the Assassin's Creed logo for 2 Canadians. Why do I have this never-ending well of hatred? You know why? Because you're alive.
Yeah.
Life is suffering.
It is.
Daniel Irish for $5. Sounds like American colleges. That's true. El Rey for $5. Sitch! Exclamation mark, exclamation mark, exclamation mark, exclamation mark. Water is wet because it has to be in order to make other things wet. Water is the essence of wetness. I don't agree.
It's a physical manifestation of wetness. Why did he capitalize hatred?
Because he meant hatred, the video game.
Oh, really? That's strong.
I don't know.
Sitch's frown embodies the never-ending well of hatred.
That's
Actually,
true.
It's more like despair.
That is literally, it's not a joke. That is literally why my character has a permanent frown etched on his face.
Everything is so sad.
Yep.
Just go to YouTube and look up the song "Everything Is Awesome," and you can't listen to that song without turning that frown upside down.
So wait a minute. There's the perfect example of neurolinguistics, because even though the song "Everything Is Awesome" is really dark and sinister in its undertones,
totally,
you're still saying it makes you feel happy.
Oh yeah, big time.
So there you go, folks. Neurolinguistics proven 100% true on this stream. And water is still not wet, by the way.
Hell of a piece of shit. Belief is the start of all of it. And just look at the chat. I'm not a great Christian in the sense I can't quote biblical verses. I go to church not that often. I don't talk about it a lot. Look at like evangelical.
So why the fuck does he care so much?
It's resentment. I'm telling you, he's the physical manifestation of resentment.
He's got that judging. Look at that lady. She's making the judgiest face of all time.
Yeah.
She's like God watching over Owen. Like,
Yeah, totally. Owen, turn your life around, she says. Owen
was in this chat being like, oh yeah, Big Bear's got the spirit in him, right? Like, I'm not lying, guys. It starts in like, because I get it so purely that I can explain it. Because it's not in the words, and it's in the words, obviously, but like, if you get lost in the art thous and all this shit, or like that one, the priest with the wizard hat, that's all nonsense. People, these parasites latch onto the truth and they suck the blood from it. That's not Christianity. It starts with the belief. And then from there, everything becomes obvious. Like, I'll say something, and I'm not a religious figure. I'm not a prophet. I'm none of that shit. I just believe. It's like, I'll say something and someone's like, oh, that's like Luke, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh, no way. And
isn't that, I think what's interesting about when Jordan Peterson does the Bible stuff is that he is able to kind of give the stories interesting meaning. But isn't that part of the problem with the Bible, is that it's like kind of like horoscopes? Like, you can kind of make a lot of things mean anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's
you read into them whatever you want.
And there's enough passages that kind of go against each other that it's like you can always find a passage for something.
That's wizardry right there.
There you go.
In the beginning, words and magic were one and the same, and even today, words retain much of their magical power. You know who said that?
Quoting? It sounds super familiar.
Sigmund Freud.
Mm.
It's true, man. Words
Was
are
he the
power.
first modern wizard?
Yeah, Freud there's some truth in Freud, but not. He got us on the right path, but Freud made a lot of mistakes. I mean, he was a cokehead, so what can you expect?
Right. He can't be. He got us. He got us the unconscious mind, and that was it. But that's fine because
Yes.
that's like a huge discovery.
It's a huge step. It is a huge step. Yeah.
Right.
Even today, people talk about the unconscious mind, but they really don't respect it. They don't respect it.
Hmm.
I mean, this is one of the reasons why I was drawn to Jonathan Haidt. One of the reasons I was drawn to Scott Adams, because they are preaching the power of the unconscious mind. Even George Lakoff is the same, power of the unconscious mind. People don't realize how much of us is that unconscious mind.
Well, because everyone wants to believe in that they're making choices. They don't want to believe they're being ruled by some force they aren't aware of.
Imagine, when you get into the car, like you're deciding where the car goes.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine all of a sudden if you figured out, guess what? I'm just a passenger in this car. This car's going wherever it wants to go. But it's making me think I'm in charge.
Yep.
It's so weird.
It's like have you read Hitchhiker's Guide?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like the mice?
Yeah,
would,
totally.
Yeah, the mice were
42.
so intelligent that they would fake all the psychology studies in order to make people act the way they wanted them to.
Oh,
See,
man.
there's a book I've read. I'm not stupid. I read Hitchhiker's Guide. That's a smart person's book.
Well, they make you read that in school.
No, they don't. What school did you go to?
I'm just kidding.
Read fucking British satire in school.
British satire is the best. It is an untenable position, though. It really is. Scott Adams' position is untenable. One of the reasons why he started talking when Trump came along was because he realized it was going to be like a teachable moment, which I thought was awesome.
I don't think it taught many people.
Yeah, because of the principle of the cognitive dissonance. You can't teach it. This is so weird. People believe what they want to believe. Someone, the last video that I did was on the anti-theist debate, and I was putting some scientific studies on the theist side of the debate because the theists rarely do that. And somebody had said, yeah, but the anti-theists have this evidence on their side. And I'm like, that's great. There's evidence on both sides. Then you can believe whatever you want to believe. That you've figured life out. Yes,
There you go.
there is evidence on both sides. Always. Always.
Yep.
Which
Except for the Earth being flat.
Oh, are you kidding? Come on. There's tons of evidence out there that the Earth is flat.
My eyeballs, I can see. That's
Exactly.
the evidence I need.
Exactly.
I'll say something and someone's like, oh, that's in Matthew. I'm like, well, it's also just true. This is the deal. The Bible is written by men. The Bible is...
Oh, wait a minute.
I
You just said
know.
the Bible was written by men. What's going on here?
Now he's taking Peterson's position. This must be wizardry. He's trying to trick us.
I'm so confused.
is been interpreted and it's old and we can't prove it scientifically, whatnot. It's true. Like, I felt it and saw it. The Bible is the only thing that matched what I saw. I have no interest in trying to prove it. That's the difference between faith and science. That's why I hate science as a religion, because they're lying. It's not fact-based. There's no global warming. There's no ozone layer because of hairspray shit.
He answered your question.
Oh, that's right. Global warming is caused by hairspray. Did you know that? He's confusing the hole in the ozone layer with global warming.
Funny.
Which is actually it's doubly funny because it's they're the exact opposite.
Did you
Global
find
warming is
that?
caused. Huh?
Did you find that on his website or something?
No. What do you mean?
Oh,
He just said it right now.
but he didn't say hairspray.
No, yeah, he did.
Did he?
Yeah, let me back it up a second.
Oh no, we've tried this before.
prove it. That's the difference between faith and science. That's why I hate science as a religion, because they're lying. It's not fact-based. There's no global warming. There's no ozone layer because of hairspray shit.
Oh,
One
okay.
in
I missed that.
Okay, so I guess, yeah. But I'm glad we replayed it because he wasn't saying global warming was caused by hairspray. He was bringing up the ozone layer. But whatever. It's dumb. Whatever he's saying, it's dumb.
5 heterosexuals didn't get AIDS by 1990. We're not dying from Ebola. Like, Y2K didn't happen. Fucking bird swine flu. Like, it's all bullshit. I know I can't prove my religion. That's why I'm logically consistent. It's called faith. I feel it in my soul. And if people don't know what that is, you can't describe it to them. This piece of shit, Jordan Peterson, believes nothing.
What do you think faith is, Adam? Let's go full nihilistic right now.
He's making Jordan Peterson's argument and then saying Jordan Peterson knows nothing. It's kind of ironic.
It is very bizarre.
So Jordan Peterson's argument is that you have to take things on faith. You're talking about faith because, and it's the same thing that I was talking about the video. Like people ask themselves, must I believe this if they don't want to believe it? And then they look for evidence to kind of get them out of a jam. And there's always evidence to be found. So faith is just the manifestation of what you want to believe. And sometimes it is based on, well, I mean, I try to base what I believe on evidence, but the longer I live, the more that I think it really is based on faith at some level. Like the deep dive that Scott Adams is doing on climate change is the perfect example, because you and I have both said, like, we were on the liberal side of that thing. Like 98% of scientists say global warming is real or global climate change is real. I'm a believer in science. I'm assuming they're looking at the evidence. I'm assuming the evidence is overwhelming. But there's a part of the equation that we missed, that people are driven by self-interest.
Mm-hmm.
And also confirmation bias. I don't think people are always cynical. I think people believe what they want to believe.
Right.
Like, it's not just blind self-interest. What is your take on faith? What do you think faith is?
I think when people say faith, what they mean is, I think it means kind of what you're saying. It's like this amalgamation of all their presupposed worldviews that they rely upon to have a solid foundation in what the world means.
Mm-hmm.
And I understand how dangerous it is for people to lose that faith, and that it does make you feel like you're in an existential hell that you've never experienced before. Because I've had that happen to me, and it was very bizarre.
Really? What happened?
It was way too long to go into. And it's not that interesting because it doesn't have anything to do. It's like, has to do with
You don't have
biological
to say it. It's okay. It's
stuff.
private. I understand.
No, it's not private.
You're
It's
pulling
just-
a Jordan
it's-
Peterson, but that's okay.
Huh?
We'll allow it.
Okay. Anyway, but so
It would take me 40 hours to
it will take
explain
me 40 hours to explain to you, Adam, how I lost my faith and regained it. No, but anyway.
I mean, I think I've jumped around. I'm trying to think if there ever was a point when I was without the central narrative of my life.
Right. So, because I would say that even atheists I would equate atheists having faith, because I'm equating faith as your worldview. That
Yeah,
is
me
your
too.
central worldview that you base everything around. So, I don't know, but it bothers me. It bothers me with when anyone just dismisses something. It's like, well, whatever, I have faith. It's like, okay, well, so does everyone else. Everyone has faith in whatever bullshit they believe. It's not like it's not a badge of pride
Right.
to be like everyone else.
So you're thinking when he says I have faith, you're thinking he's saying I have evidence for what I want to believe.
Well, no, because he's saying, look, I don't need to convince anyone of my religion, which I respect that, and I think that's a good thing to have. But it's just because it sounds like he's kind of like saying, well, I have faith in my beliefs, and Jordan Peterson is this satanic liar who I guess doesn't have faith in anything or has faith in materialism or whatever. I don't know. Maybe it just rubs me the wrong way.
Yeah, the thing about Peterson is I really do think his heart is in the right place. But one of the things that bugs me is when people try to straw man him and try to, I mean, but everyone believes their heart is in the right place. Everybody believes that they're doing the right thing. What's the problem is if they're working on bad information, or I mean, even these crazy postmodernists think that they're fighting racism that doesn't
Right.
exist.
Exactly.
Like, their heart is in the right place. If racism was at the levels that they believe it's at, I'd be like, sign me up. Let's take care of this.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Yeah.
But I think
don't know,
that's one of the most important things for people to understand is that most people, you know, there's always the sociopath and the liars out there, but most people think they're convincing themselves that they're doing the right thing. And I'm not saying that so that you empathize or pity them. It's just you have to understand where everyone's coming from if you want to change their mind or at least effectively communicate against them. And I don't think it's effective whenever, because you see this all the time. Whenever people disagree with each other, they say, "Oh, this person doesn't actually believe what they're saying; they're just lying." Like that's like one of the most common go-to attacks on someone.
Yeah, it's
And I think it's just very
dehumanizing.
right, and I think it's just completely ineffective.
Yeah, it's not good persuasion. The humility is super low. Like, the people are so certain of themselves. I think
Right.
my humility and your humility is higher, though. I think we do have some level of uncertainty.
Well, it's because we had our worldview challenged by all the SJW stuff, so we became humbled by it.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Going from thinking that things are much different, like, and being so adamant about how right I was, and then realizing, oh shit, I was totally wrong, kind of makes me weary of getting myself in that situation again. I
Right.
mean, Owen is going hard here. Owen is going super hard
Mm-hmm.
on things that he might want to take back in the future. But I think if you read that book, Influence, when they talk about the people in the Korean concentration camp,
Mm-hmm.
it's very hard to go back. One would argue it's impossible to go back. Like, change is one way
And
thing.
I'm not willing to do that. And I'm not interested in providing people with easy answers, including me.
Or any answers, Jordan. You're not interested in providing anyone answers. You charge $300 to shake your soft, sweaty hand with your soft sheets and your sodomite opener and your lizard agents that you didn't need and your bullshit backstory and your maps of meaning. He called paranoid delusions of grandeur and pathological lying a map of meaning. And I'll be honest, this dude did help me in some ways. This dude is helped some of my friends from like.
Is this? Do you not think this is resentment talking? In all honesty, I mean, just.
I mean, I think either one or two things are happening. Either he is deeply homophobic because he always brings up Dave Rubin being gay, or you're exactly right, and it is resentment, and that's why he keeps bringing up Dave Rubin and attacking him in that way.
Do you
Because
know
he wanted to be the guy.
Right. Also, but do you know he was at Creative Artists Agency? Creative Artists Agency
Yeah.
is a great agency.
Mm-hmm.
They are top notch. There's two main agencies in Los Angeles. He was at Creative
so
Artists
when he says lizard agents, he's referring to the people that used to represent him.
that used to represent him, right? So
Right.
he came out strong against the transgender stuff, which I'm all like, you know me, I'm in favor of. I think we're actually turning kids transgender. I lean very right on that. So, but the political atmosphere, you can't do that. You really can't. And I'm sure his agent said, "Hey,
Peterson's
listen,
against the trans stuff, right?
Peterson has not taken a position on that and is careful not to take a position on it." Yeah.
I guess you're right. He's only talked about non-binary. He hasn't talked about transitioning.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. He stays away from the trans. He talks about the non-binary stuff being fashion, and he always tries to steer the conversation back to pronouns, which is the Liberty Foundation, which everyone agrees with. They're like, tell me what to do. Tell me what to say. Like, he's on firm ground there. But Owen Benjamin went to the, like, he's a Ben Shapiro guy. Like, he's out there telling people transgender is a mental illness. Which, I mean, I even have mixed feelings on the
gender dysphoria is a mental illness.
Not according to the transgender people are trying to get the DSM changed.
But there's a difference. Is Owen Benjamin saying he's not, I'm assuming he's not saying it's a mental illness. I'm assuming he's saying it's not real. It's fake.
Now, I think he's saying it's a mental illness, but either way, that is the political divide. But in Hollywood, you're going to get a lot of pushback from. I mean, listen, we've talked about The Matrix several times on this podcast. You know the Wachowski brothers are the Wachowski sisters now, right?
Yes. Like,
coming out hard against transgender in Hollywood is not a good idea.
Right.
So I'm sure his agent said to him, you know, the lizard agent, the one, the one with the spiked Satan tongue, said, Owen Benjamin, you must
support the trans.
I know, you must stop what you're talking about. But Owen went hard. He felt he was doing the right thing, and I think ended up costing himself his career to some extent. So I mean, if anyone has motivation to be in a resentful frame of mind, I think it's Owen. But this kind of resentment, I don't think is good for you. Yeah, I don't think it's healthy.
So doesn't that prove, or at least not prove, but at least show that he probably does believe that Owen believes what he's saying. He's not milking it for views, because if he was the kind of person that would change what he's saying for views, then he would have changed what he was saying about the trans stuff.
Right. No, I think it just, the only thing that I think he might be milking for views is the moon landing stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but I'm
exactly.
saying, what if he's the kind of person that wouldn't change his views for the larger audience with the trans stuff? Why would he do it for the smaller audience with the moon stuff?
Well, first of all, I'd argue that the moon audience is probably bigger, and second, I would argue that it's a non-issue. Like, who does it affect?
Right.
Like, the trans stuff definitely is affecting people. That's where I have problems with it, because if my lizard agent came to me and said, Adam, I might say, okay, check, no more trans stuff. Where's my next meeting? I mean, this is basically what he's accusing Jordan Peterson of, which I mean, I'm agnostic on that.
Right.
Like, in Jordan Peterson's mind, and obviously we're doing a lot of mind reading here, so take it with a grain of salt, right? But the mind reading stuff is fun, is it not? I mean, this is why we do this.
Fun. That is what people want to see.
So, okay. So if Jordan Peterson, though, I mean, Jordan Peterson is smart. He's going to sense that they shouldn't be doing this. Like, he's navigated this whole path to the top, which is amazing.
Right.
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 And there's landmines everywhere. He even partially steps on them like every once in a while.
Pretty often.
Yeah, but he seems to get out of it. It's like you know, the mine blows him up in the air and he lands on his feet. Oh, that was close.
Right,
Don't do that again.
Yeah.
This is, I think why Owen is a little bit resentful, because he thinks that he should be, that Jordan Peterson maybe Jordan Peterson is. I feel like Jordan Peterson would tell himself that I can do more good if I have more power, and therefore I should amass more power. I think this is what everybody says to themselves, right?
Right. That is the lie that everyone tells themselves.
Right, exactly.
Right.
Bernie Madoff was telling himself about how all this money he was giving to charity and stuff, right?
Right, right.
Yeah, no, seriously.
I don't know. Daniel Irish for $5 says Owen was cucked by Dave Rubin. Who wouldn't be resentful?
Oh my God. See, that's what I keep saying. I said that in so many comment sections. I'm serious. I have
on Owen's videos.
No, on videos about Owen and stuff. I feel like Owen has deserved resentment. The whole idea is that you should work through that. Like, I think what would be more healthy for Owen is Owen to be saying, listen, like, I don't think Owen is confronting the real problem. God, we're going full psychoanalysis here. Don't you think?
I'm hesitant to. I haven't watched enough of his content for me to make the judgment.
Right.
It does seem something weird is going on.
So does Owen have a problem? That's step one.
I do think he has some problem because he keeps calling out Dave Rubin's homosexuality and the lizard agent stuff, who used to be his agents. These are signs of what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
So it's definitely very possible.
Right. And okay, so if we think if Owen has a problem, what is the path to success? You're a psychologist.
He needs to admit it to himself.
He needs to get at the root of the problem.
He
needs to realize that he has homosexual feelings for Dave Rubin, that he's hiding subconsciously. Now, this is what your SJW therapist would talk to you. I think really your problem is that you're everything is blatant suppressed homosexuality in the SJW
suppressed latent
playbook.
Homosexual tendencies.
Yeah,
he needs a Dave Rubin pillow that he can snuggle at night.
Well, imagine if he brought the Dave Rubin pillow home. What would his wife say? Oh, it's for my therapy. My therapist says this will be good for me.
See, you should get for the stream, you should get a big Jordan Peterson waifu pillow you could just put next to you in the shot.
I know. I got my Foodie Cootie shirt on today, so I don't know if anyone noticed that I have a fancy new jacket on. This is suede right here.
You're like a tiny little box in my screen, so I can't tell what you're wearing.
That's okay. You want more super chats, or are we gonna go more on Owen?
Eric47851 for $2 says Blizzard announced that Soldier 76 is a bottom.
Uh-oh. That's bad,
that's right? Blizzard announced that Soldier 76 is gay for no reason whatsoever, so.
But isn't bottom worse than being gay? I mean, that's like.
Yeah, it means you're the one taking it.
Yep.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, they did the same thing with Tracer, so I guess I don't know why anyone's surprised that Blizzard is randomly naming characters gay for no reason whatsoever.
This is a comic book thing? Do you read comic books?
No, Overwatch. It's a video game.
Oh, okay. Do you read
I guess
comic
they do
books?
make a comic about it. So, no, I used to.
Okay.
But not anymore.
You grew up.
I just lost interest. American comics, I will say, here's the weeb response. American comics are completely blown out of the water by Japanese comics.
By manga?
Yeah, by manga.
Yeah.
I still read One Punch Man whenever it comes out. So
I've heard manga's heavy on the fan service, so that makes sense you would say that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, of course. Got to bring it back to this. Okay.
Not dying from heroin. This dude has helped people's dads. I get it. Deepak Chopra has also helped people. These people are snake oil salesmen. I'm not saying that there isn't help. Like, you can't. This guy said enough nonsense, but appeared to be a strong male that it allowed other people to save themselves. Right? Like Base Texan, right? Who runs my clip channel, Owen Benjamin Clips, right? He can now almost pay, he can pay a good chunk of his mortgage now because of the ad revenue from that channel. And he said to me, man, you really, you really helped me, man. You really, you did a lot for me. I'm very grateful. I'm like, you did it. And I'm not saying that to butter people up or any of that. He pulled himself out. He started clipping my clips. And it was so consistent that I started promoting him on my channel. He made it profitable. He was such a good, consistent, loyal guy to me that I never wanted any money from him. And I just wanted his friendship and I wanted his family to succeed. And I love the way he sees the world. That's all him. Jordan Peterson, he allows people to save themselves by standing up in a very tiny way, by saying, boys have penises, girls have vaginas, and clean your goddamn room, bucko. That's his entire offering to the world. And just by doing that little glimmer, which is his...
Why, if that's all he does, why did he like him before when he thought he was a secret Christian?
Yeah, this argument I'm super suspect of, because I got into him on the truth thing. The first podcast with Sam Harris was what hooked me. So, and that is so fascinating to me. And I just don't think many people even understand how radical it is, what he's saying.
Right.
So, and that's, to me, his biggest offering. So,
well, and I would, because for me it's different, and it always does annoy me when people say, "Oh, I don't understand why people like Jordan Peterson. He just says the same old, folksy wisdom, common sense wisdom that's been said for the beginning of time."
yeah.
And it's like, yeah, he does. He is saying that, but what he's doing, or as they're saying, he's saying dad wisdom, and it's like, yes, he is doing all those things, but what you're ignoring is that he's explaining why that wisdom is applicable today, why it still exists, why it did exist in the first place, and why you should follow it. And that's the difference.
Yeah.
Because most of the time when you hear the quote unquote dad wisdom of clean your room, it's never explained in the context that Jordan Peterson explains it. He's not
Right.
Your dad doesn't tell you, he says it builds character. And that when your dad says it to you, like in Calvin and Hobbes, it builds character. That doesn't mean anything to you as a child.
Right. Because I said so is not really a great answer.
Right. So Jordan Peterson is taking all the folksy wisdom and saying, this is why the folksy wisdom still exists, and this is why you should follow it. And you go, oh, the light bulb suddenly went on, and suddenly it all makes sense.
Yeah, they do these ethnographies, archaeologists do, where they go into like tribal societies and stuff like that, and they all have these traditions. And when they ask them why they do the traditions, a lot of times the answers are because we always have. Right?
Yeah, they don't know. Right.
Right. But in the modern era, we can figure out, oh, wow, well, that tradition is very useful because it adds some thing that you needed to your diet that these people would be starving to death or poisoned by what they eat if they didn't do that thing. So
Right.
Jordan Peterson marries the modern scientific reasoning with the ancient wisdom, which is something totally new. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah.
So there you go. Doubters and haters.
Yeah, exactly. So put that in your peace pipe and smoke it.
Catalyst to get millions and millions of dollars and probably unlimited sodomy. But it sparks something in people.
Wait a minute. We gotta go back.
Unlimited sodomy.
Unlimited
I'm telling you, this guy,
sodomy.
he's funnier than Dave Rubin. He should be on that tour.
Allows people to save themselves by standing up in a very tiny way, by saying, boys have penises, girls have vaginas, and clean your goddamn room, bucko. That's his entire offering to the world. And just by doing that little glimmer, which is his catalyst to get millions and millions of dollars and probably unlimited sodomy, but it sparks.
It's weird that he frames like gayness as satanic. Seems what he's doing.
That's
what makes me
Christian trope, man.
Yeah, but it's weird because he, like, on one hand he's like trying to say like, oh, I'm not like a neocon Christian, I don't go to church, I don't care if you're atheist. But then on the other hand, he keeps saying all this like, oh, but gay is the root of evil stuff.
Yeah.
Make up your mind, Owen.
It's got the homophobe, right?
Yeah. Well, you've
called me a homophobe, but this guy's like, I mean, we're reaching new records here.
We are reaching new records.
The thing that I also think that people miss about Peterson and why Peterson is so huge is because he risked everything. I don't think the Peterson story works without that risking everything element. I think people just innately respect that he took, like he risked his job. He took a stand. He did risk everything. Right.
That's a good point. He risked everything to say what a lot of people were thinking.
I think this is Brett Weinstein is in the same boat. He risked everything. Peter Prigozhin is now in that same boat. He risked everything. I think people just have... Go ahead.
I was going to say, people we always need a narrative, and we need a figurehead to rally behind. And before him, there wasn't really anyone really picking up the anti-SJW banner, I don't think.
Yeah, not to the same stakes that he did.
No. Or with the same capability that he has.
Yes, when we go on YouTube and rant in our videos and stuff, we're not really risking. I mean, some people are, but even using an avatar is like, that's to mitigate your risk. Like, he went out there, here I am, this is where I live, I'm taking a stand.
Well, I'm not just talking about risk, I'm talking about just the ability to become the figurehead of the idea or the movement.
Yeah, definitely. Right. Charisma meets competence.
But you know what's more important than that? Unlimited sodomy.
Oh, yeah. That's really what he's in for. He's like, it's just if I could get more sodomy in my life, everything would be better.
It's like the Emperor from Star Wars. He just wants unlimited sodomy.
People that saved them, but it was people that saved themselves. I saved no one. I don't impregnate your wife when you decide to have a family now because you see me and you do it.
Oh my God, I know. It's just
what are you talking about?
He's talking about impregnating your wife.
I guess he's going back to like if I'm so talented I could be a crazy cult leader.
I guess. I don't know. I want this stream to go on longer though. I feel like it's just a little tiny bit left.
That's what the world's supposed to be. That's the beauty of truth. All truth is true. We all share it. It's not mine. I'm not special. I am special in the sense that I see this, but it's not mine. It's all of ours.
Okay. There's the advertisement
for the huge pianist.
Yes. So I don't know. Here's the problem. You have a 24-minute video. No one knows what the fuck he's talking about. What the fuck his problem with Jordan Peterson is in the whole 24 minutes. He never explains anything whatsoever. Mm-hmm. I mean, is this just a case of he's explained it in other sources and he's expecting his audience to, be up on all this stuff? Or is this just really poor communication? I mean, he's a fucking stand-up comedian, right? You have to be able to know how to craft a narrative if you're a stand-up comedian.
He's taken the Vox Day audience now. Like the Vox Day, he's in bed with rationality rules. He's in the full Jordan Peterson hater camp. Man, that's a weird combination.
Vox Day also is the white nationalist camp, and I'm assuming Owen he's not getting that.
We need to see a stream with Hugo and Jake, Owen Benjamin, and Vox Day.
That sounds like the literal worst thing I could possibly imagine.
I know, but it would be like the singularity, man. A black hole could be caused by that stream. Worlds so awesome. Collide.
So I wanted to do the next stream on alternative hypothesis. Mm-hmm. And he had a video criticizing Jordan Peterson that is, I think, absurd. But someone here didn't want to do it.
Are you calling me out?
I'm calling you out on the stream.
Where does what? I'll have to look at the video. Let's see. Let's take a look at the video. You were saying alt hype is off of the alt right stuff.
Well, do you want to explain why you don't want to do it, or are we not going to talk about that?
Well, I not really. I mean, I don't want to talk about it. Now you're like putting me on the spot.
We don't have to talk about it. We can change. We can drop it.
We have another super chat.
Contrast for 10 Aussie dollars, 10 didgeridoos. I can't stand it when companies shove characters' sexuality in your face. If they're gonna do it, be subtle, like Gustav from Breaking Bad. He was gay. Oh, you're right. He was gay. That's right. See? I didn't even remember. Don't point a spotlight on it. Be gone, thought. thoughts and be a squall.
I have never seen Breaking Bad, and everybody has given me a hard time about it.
What?
Yes.
That's like, you would love that show.
It's supposedly heavy in the drugs from what I hear too. Which is kind of a soft spot of mine, so.
It's about, do you know he's about him selling meth.
It seems like a totally ridiculous start though. So
What do you mean?
the beginning of it seemed totally ridiculous to me. Like he had some cancer diagnosis or something, and then he
he's
goes off the
diagnosed with
deep
cancer.
end. Right.
He's a high school teacher, gets diagnosed with cancer, decides that he needs to make more money for his family because he's going to die, so he's going to start selling drugs.
Now that doesn't seem just a little weird. Just a little weird.
Of course it's weird, but it's explained in the show.
I have to check it out.
Here's the thing. I don't like the last season, but everything up to the last season is fantastic.
This was like a cultural phenomenon. People are giving me a hard time in the chat and everyone always gives me a hard time. Everyone always gives me a hard time.
You deserve it. The chat is right.
It's a cult. Didn't it end badly though? I mean, first of all, it's a cultural phenomenon that's been passed, and then it's also ended badly.
No, I think I'm in the minority when I say I didn't like the last season. I think most people did like the last season. To me, it's not like Battlestar Galactica where the ending is so awful it takes away from the rest of the show.
Oh, spoiler alert. Jeez, I was just getting ready to watch Battlestar Galactica.
If someone's planning to watch Battlestar Galactica, don't. The ending is so awful. But Breaking Bad's different because the reason I think the last season is bad is because it kind of like it just goes on one season too long. It should have just ended the season before and it would have been fine.
I think I might have ADD because every time I try to get into one of these shows that's like a cultural phenomenon, I never seem to be able to pay attention to it.
Just watch the first 2 or 3 episodes and see if you like it. That's all you have to do. It's not like a fucking commitment here. This isn't difficult to do.
Is it on Netflix?
It's on Netflix. Yeah.
I knew it was. Everything's on Netflix.
I'm pretty sure it's on Netflix.
I've watched Ragnarok about 4 times. But I've never seen.
I don't even know what that is.
Really? Oh, it's so good. Ragnarok.
You know what it's not?
It's
Thor.
Not
Breaking Bad.
It's Thor Ragnarok.
Oh.
Yeah, you know
Thor
what it
Ragnarok.
is. Yeah, you've seen it.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Come on, it's great. It's like an action comedy.
Yes. Okay. So the next time you sit down and watch Thor Ragnarok, you can turn on Breaking Bad instead. It's really good. Okay.
I'll check it out.
Also, as Caffeinated Fiends in the chat, Dexter didn't end badly. Okay. Dexter had 2 good seasons, and then it became progressively shittier after that.
Oh, okay.
Will you guys continue to stream? I don't know. I don't think so. I think we're running out of steam on the stream here, so probably gonna call it pretty soon.
I want to know what you think about Owen. Because people are progressively saying, I guess you're saying that you don't really know enough about Owen. Maybe Owen will come on. Maybe Owen will have a stream with us and we can talk about this stuff.
Here's my final verdict. It's hard to tell. He's obviously someone who cares a lot about religion.
Mm-hmm.
And I would agree with you with the resentful stuff because of his continual anti-gay comments about Dave Rubin specifically.
Mm-hmm.
Because it seems like here's my view on it. He keeps linking homosexuality with Satanism and some sort of evilness. So therefore, for him to attack Dave Rubin by attacking his homosexuality, that's like the ultimate insult.
Yeah, but don't you think he's doing it just to make it the ultimate insult because Dave Rubin's the guy that stole his job?
No, but I'm saying it's the other way around.
What's the other way around?
That he thinks being gay is like evil. Therefore, when he's attacking Dave Rubin, he's going to keep bringing up that he's gay.
I think he just hates Dave Rubin, and that's like the thing that he thinks is the most incendiary.
Well, I don't know. I guess who knows? But I get my point was just that in what he's actually talking about with Jordan Peterson, he doesn't need to bring up Dave Rubin because he's not talking about any of the things related to Dave Rubin. So I think that plays into your point of the resentment, because why else would he keep bringing him up?
What is your energy level?
It's a medium low. Why? Did you want to watch another video?
No, Mark Ludwig's in the chat. I was going to invite him on.
Oh.
Read the super chat.
There he is. Mark is here. I'm the author of the YouTube analysis you were talking about earlier. New version is available as of 10 minutes ago. And there is a URL there. Yeah, if he wants to come on, he is completely invited to come on if he wants.
Maybe I could maybe I could tell him why I'm not right wing.
You can argue with him and tell him why you're not right. So Mark, send me or friended a Twitter DM.
I don't know if he I don't know if he wants
not.
to come on. I just saw him in the chat, so.
Yeah, I mean, no, we're not pressuring you. If you don't want to come on, it's fine too. You have
5 minutes.
So.
You have 5 minutes to respond.
5 minutes to decide.
Or this
if you don't,
chat will self-destruct.
We won't insult you if you don't come on. Yes.
So why don't you want to do the Deepak Chopra stuff?
Because here's how you pitched it to me. You said this video is really funny because Donald Hoffman is talking about all this really interesting stuff about how reality is not how you think it is, and Deepak Chopra keeps trying to pull that information. He's trying to wooify it. Okay, he's trying to say, "Oh, see, all this interesting things about reality not existing proves my new age woo," and then Donald Hoffman keeps trying to say, in a nice way, keeps saying, well, not exactly. That's not what happens in the video. Mm-hmm. It's just Donald saying the interesting things that he says, and then Deepak Chopra says, that is interesting. And then they just keep talking.
But you said yourself you didn't watch it.
No, I did watch it.
So you saw Deepak Chopra's eyes. You saw his big puppy dog eyes. Like he's like, oh my God,
You mean watch it with my eyeballs?
Yeah, exactly.
No. I listened to it. Yes.
Deepak
right.
Chopra is like looking at Donald Hoffman so excitedly. He's like, oh my God, he's proving everything. All the bullshit I've been saying for years. He's proving with his science. His magic is proving all my bullshit correctly.
You know, that might be one of my big problems is that I rarely ever watch any of these videos. Like right now when we're talking about Owen Benjamin, like I'm not even paying attention to the screen most of the time.
Really?
So I'm not watching all his body language or anything.
Deepak Chopra just looks so longingly into his eyes. Like the whole time he's on the edge of his seat. It's so good.
A Very Dead Horse for $5 says, I actually asked Owen if he wanted to talk to you guys. I was given a contact email if you want it. He's not actually homophobic. See Gaytown, so funny.
Oh, really? Yeah, I was thinking he's not homophobic either. I think he's just saying that because he thinks it can hurt.
He thinks it's funny?
He can hurt. Yeah, totally. He doesn't understand how
I don't know. It's weird.
His agents see that.
If you're not a homophobe, why would you be like, oh, I think Jordan Peterson is secretly gay? Like, what?
Do you not understand that? Do you not understand that red-blooded American men don't like to be called homosexual? Come on.
No. I do understand that. But I'm saying it's like such... It's like A plus B equals F. Like it's coming out of nowhere.
Yeah, totally. It's because it's an insult. It's just well, I guess it's not an insult,
you think
though.
It's just an insult? Like he's just like, he's like, Pearson sucks, he's gay. Like, it seems like more than that.
Maybe, I don't know.
But look, if he wants to talk to us, I'd have no problem talking to him. You know, I'd be interested because I would want to know what the fuck he's talking about because he doesn't explain it in this fucking video. We still don't understand what his problem with Peterson is, except that he thinks Peterson's lying.
It is funny.
So, I will leave that in Brendan's capable hands if he wants to contact Owen Benjamin and ask him or not, because I don't really care one way or the other.
Oh, he's going to be in the comments section here. He's going to be saying you're gay. He's going to be like, gay.
That would be really funny. I'd give him a lot of credit if he just left a comment that just said "gay" in all caps. That was it. That would be really funny.
That's what he said in the comment in the video that I clipped out. He's like, he's totally gay. Gay, closet gay.
Yeah, someone in the chat said you have to watch all 18 hours of Benjamin lore to understand.
It's like social justice warriors are taking all our insults away. They really are. Like, I started thinking the other day, I'm like, how do you insult someone nowadays? Like, you can't call him a retard. You can't call him gay. Right. Like, well,
I will say I used to be on the, I grew up in the 90s, and in the 90s, the go-to insult for everyone was "you're gay."
Gay, yeah. Gay.
But I do agree that I think it should be, people shouldn't say that anymore.
Yeah, it's inconsiderate.
I've changed my mind.
Right.
There you go. I've changed my mind. I used to be vehemently on the side of South Park and saying, hey, it's okay to call people gay and fags because people don't mean it in terms of homosexuality. Because I know I didn't mean it that way when I would say it. But
they do, though. They do mean it in terms of homosexuality.
I mean, a lot of people I knew, when you would say something was gay because you didn't like it, you didn't mean it was homosexual. You just meant
There's
like, I
a
don't
logical
like it.
reason why you don't want to be called gay. As a straight man. That.
Right. But that's my point. That's why I think it has a subtext that you can't divorce from the word.
But it's not because you don't like gay people. It's you don't like being miscategorized.
No. But it's more than that, because if you're like, oh, I didn't like that movie, it was gay, you don't necessarily mean that the movie was.
Yeah.
You mean it was stupid. You don't mean that it was actually gay.
You mean it was physically repulsive.
No, you just mean like, oh, I just didn't like the movie because it sucked. That was gay became a synonym for something sucks.
Yeah.
Which I guess makes a little bit of sense, but we're not going to get into that. So.
I never saw South Park.
I
am literally like the boy that fell to earth.
You haven't. You always criticize me because you're like, oh, you haven't read all these fucking books that are about like important concepts for society, but you haven't fucking seen Breaking Bad or seen South Park. So get off my back.
None of that stuff tells you how the world works, though. And once you understand how the world works, those things just seem ridiculous. They seem totally ridiculous. So much of the stuff I watch, I'm like, that could never happen.
Okay.
Did you get any response? Oh, maybe
I didn't get a response. So
on your Twitter,
I didn't get a DM.
Oh, okay. Has it been 5 minutes? I don't want to.
It's been enough. Enough time has passed.
So how do we end these things? We never know how to.
Here's how we end it. Here's a takeaway from the stream. Owen Benjamin's, as a stand-up comedian, I think you should be able to tell a narrative, craft a narrative better to explain what the fuck your point is in a 24-minute ranting video, and stop being resentful of Dave Rubin, and Friended needs to watch Breaking Bad and South Park.
At least one episode.
At least one episode.
I can commit to one episode.
There you go. See, chat, we've making strides here. We're changing my hearts and minds. We got Friended to watch a single episode of Breaking Bad.
All right. Thanks for all the super chats, obviously. Let us know what you want us to do next, but not the alt hype video.
Okay, everyone, I want every single person here. The second I shut this video off, you got to come back, you have to comment, you have to say, I want you to do the alt hype video. Shut up, Adam.
Didn't you want to do it? You wanted to do it with your buddy, though.
Yeah, I wanted to. Liberosity wanted to defend him.
Right.
So it'd be interesting.
Yeah,
are you saying
Liberosity's gay and I'm homophobic? I don't want to. I'm scared to be on a stream with him. He gave me weird gay vibes. My gaydar was going off.
Really?
No, I'm just kidding. I'm only I'm just making excuses for myself.
So everyone in chat, we can if Adam doesn't want to do the alt hype video, you can all call him gay. Is that what's happening?
I'll do it. I'll just So are you, what is the Because I was thinking maybe I could moderate between you two guys and you guys could duke it out.
If you want to do that, sure. I don't care. That's fine.
What are the positions that he's taking? What are the two positions? Because it's
The
not
positions.
Yeah, I'll go ahead.
It's like the standard white nationalist position against Jordan Peterson is that you can't fight identity politics. And because identity politics is too ingrained in people, or racial identity politics is too ingrained in people, you shouldn't even try to avoid it. Jordan Peterson is just weakening us to allow our enemies to win, and a bunch of bullshit white nationalist talking points that are all not true.
Right. So they're saying you have to fight identity politics with identity politics, and that's why they don't like Jordan Peterson.
Right.
Which I have plenty to say about identity politics. I definitely do.
Well, that's why I thought you'd want to do the video.
Yeah, but liberosity, man. I'm telling you.
Who and I want to say liberosity is not alt-right. So
Liberosity is just, he's not all right. He's just defending the position, correct?
he's just defending the position, right?
Right.
Maybe he's becoming sympathetic. Maybe we have to save him, Adam. That's what this stream is about. It's about saving the soul of a fellow YouTuber from becoming a white nationalist.
I don't do that, man. I push him in. I'm like, follow your bliss.
We have to change his mind. We have to do the impossible.
All right. I thought Alt Hype dumped his channel. I haven't watched one of his videos in forever.
Yeah,
so.
I don't remember. I remember Distributors did a video, because I don't watch Alt Hype obviously, but Distributors did a video where he said Alt Hype, I think, reneged on white nationalism. So
Right.
Who knows? We'll figure out what we're gonna do next week. Leave in the comments if you have any ideas, and call
Deepak
Adam
Chopra.
Big Gay
Deepak
if you want to
Chopra.
do Alt Hype.
Deepak Chopra. I want to do Chopra, man. I want to know if we're living in a simulation.
See you all next time.
Take care, everyone.